Okay.
Oh, this is an interesting start.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you?
You talking to me or?
Yes.
I'm chilling. I'm kind of in a bad mood because I played Pico Park yesterday and we went through all of that and it was torture.
Yes, I saw your fuck Pico Park thing. What the hell even happened?
I have no idea
It
what
was-
Pico Park is.
It's literally a team game that's a bunch of simple mechanics, but you have to work with 8 other people to try to figure stuff out.
Pico Park is the
Oh.
kind of game that you would enjoy, Jordan, because you can single-handedly ruin everybody's day.
That sounds like
Yeah.
a game I would be very happy to ruin people's day and very
I told
people
you.
aren't doing what I would want to do.
Yeah. We played that, didn't get to sleep until like 6 or 7, and we started at like 1. Playing that for a really long time. We beat the entire thing, but I was broken after it.
See, you should just take those kind of games the way I take those kind of games, and it's only as bad as you make it, rather than letting others.
Until one person keeps constantly fucking over everyone.
No, you have to be that person.
Mother of God.
But also, question, 'cause I actually have like barely any notes. Did he say who the flame was like brought by, or who it was actually for?
So you do not. You, unfortunately, even as the soldier that you are, you don't know too terribly much about the flame. You just know that it is what creates the redeemed, and it's from the sinners who break the rule of no murder.
You
Oh, that
cannot
much, but
murder,
did they-
except for that one time where there was a monster to be murdered. Damn it, I grabbed the...
Creatures without a high level of intelligence do not factor into that.
Oh, so the Hydra was an idiot.
Yes.
So
If
it's
the creatures
essentially Adol Sarday's philosophy.
If the creatures are not technically sentient, they do not warrant that sort of thing.
But did
In any
they?
case,
They technically did the guy say like who the flame was brought by, or did he just like it's just a false flame,
He
He-
did. Oh,
he-
sorry.
or who it was for?
he didn't know the name of the person, but he gave a vague description. However, this happened before you were born. As far as you know, the flame has always been a part of the city.
I know, but I'm asking like what description did he give of like who brought the flame or whatever?
A cloaked man in a porcelain mask. Which is why everyone immediately thought it was Barbosa from the previous campaign.
Because that's exactly what he looks like. A cloaked man in a porcelain mask.
Didn't Aiken also wear one of those?
It wasn't a
Aiken
porcelain
wore
mask. She
The
wore
plague
a
doctor.
gas mask.
Yeah, Aiken wore a plague doctor's mask.
No, that was Kane. She wore specifically a gas mask.
You say so.
I do say so.
Ah, shit. I put that all on one line.
And then in the alternate dimension you guys created, she didn't wear a mask at all half the time. I still don't know how I'm going to describe that in the plot.
We fucked with time, and then it went wibbly wobbly, and now there's two places. And we
That is
just
not a
picked
good
better one.
description.
Everything was going well, and then this asshole shows a picture of Obi got involved.
Nah.
What do you mean that doesn't explain anything? That's literally how you're supposed to explain time travel is. We went back in time, we did a thing, everything went wibbly wobbly, we went to the better one.
That's an awful description.
As time travel, it's hard to describe in a better way. It's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey space stuff. Yeah, listen to your boyfriend.
I never listened to him, much to my own detriment.
Well, at least you recognize that you're a brat.
I'm not a brat, you're the brat.
And
What do you mean, eh?
I said and. I don't know why he's saying but
You said
Get up.
and, not eh.
There's more madness effects?
Okay, what
Yeah.
page is
did
this
you know
on?
that there's fucking artisan tool skills that you can use?
Yes.
Okay.
I did know that one. I did not know there were 3 different tables I could use to. If
Are you
guys
kidding me?
don't
There's
know.
like 4 tables for trinkets.
I knew about the trinkets one, which honestly, yeah, I don't. don't understand that one, but it's
My favorite one is the stuffed owlbear. It's more so that it's just based on different settings. Like, each one's for a different setting. There's one for fucking Ravenloft, which is where the stuffed owlbear comes from. And it's by far my favorite one because I found a stuffed owlbear. And it's fucking adorable.
until it becomes animate and tries to kill you.
Why would my stuffed owlbear kill me?
Because you're in Ravenloft, everything wants to kill you.
Anyways, these are the plushies. Just look how adorable they are. Why would you want those to be murderous? They're just adorable.
Once again,
Owlbears?
Ravenloft.
Yeah, they're just stuffed owlbear.
They are oddly cute.
It's also a sewing pattern that you can just buy.
I'm getting big Ori and the Blind Forest vibes from them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, Dimas just had a realization.
The circles also don't move if I rotate the pictures.
Never mind. I thought it was a relevant one.
It's
Oh.
thumbtacks!
It's called a
Why-
revelation, not a
Thumbtacks, you say?
Why is Mr. Mummy Man diagonal? Or why was he diagonal briefly?
Because I wanted to check to see if the circles rotated with him if I moved his picture, and they do not.
But anyway, so what you're saying is that a light enchantment just... Have you played Borderlands 2?
I played Borderlands 2.
You know, Zero? With fucking emoticons.
Vaguely. It has been a long time since I've played.
So you're saying that a person could easily have a mask enchanted to just show an emoticon instead of speaking?
Probably.
Those exist in real life.
Yeah, but that's through tech, not magic.
Technology is magic with better understanding.
I kind of want to have, now I kind of want to have one of those, Japanese, no masks. The ones with, the smiley face or, the angry
The ones
demon
I like a
face.
lot.
Those
Yeah,
are,
and I want to have those, but, they can change their emotion.
I think that is actually a thing. I remember seeing something similar to that.
I mean, I've
I
got
think
one
it's
that lights
primarily
up,
through
so...
LEDs that we do at IRL.
Yeah, that sounds like it will probably burn up your mouth.
Just
Yeah, not if you do it right.
Alright. So shall we get started?
D&D begins now.
D&D begins now.
So, shortly after George has been warped out, you are all warped back to the entrance in which you had come in through, and you are free to go about the city as you wish.
Well, also they will raise the... Wait, did we get weapons or weapon of the dude?
You got the weapons.
Okay, so it's multiple weapons.
Coupons.
I guess I'll just hand them over to Hubert. Okay. Thorgrim,
Yes.
let's go. Hubert, let's go return the weapons and turn in the quest.
He nods.
Gotcha.
Gira, come with
I'll
us.
head back to the inn and await you guys.
Yeah, sit tight.
Alright. We have to discuss this at a later date, hopefully somewhere private.
Oh, I would prefer that because of, what you said.
Yep. Then Ada will head over to the Adventurers Guild.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna
You-
follow.
You enter, and everything seems to be about the same, going the same way as it usually does. Nothing too hectic or anything along those lines. And the receptionist looks to you as you enter before clasping their hands together and goes, "You go back." And some of you look better than others. They say, looking specifically at Thorgrim, who has several cuts and bruises on him.
I'm the one in charge of making sure everyone else doesn't get hurt.
I see.
Alright. I'm just gonna cast, I don't think we're gonna be combat for the rest of the day. I hope. I sincerely hope. So I'm just gonna use my last number 1 spell slot for this, since I forgot to do it before.
Also, I'm not too worse for wear. I have 56 out of 84, so
Hey, that ain't bad.
I'm still more than that. Oh, and I guess I just gained 7 as well.
You did.
Excellent.
Well, we were unable to find this missing person. Well, my mistake, we were unable to find them alive. We did find their body, and we took their weapons as proof.
The receptionist holds out their hands for the weapons.
Hubert, can you give him the weapons, please?
Hubert does so. The receptionist looks them over before tucking them under the desk and nods. Thank you for fulfilling this quest.
So, what is the reward for it?
Well, I stated previously that the reward would be based off of your physical well-being upon return, and it looks as if you had had a bit of a scuffle.
That's putting it
A little
lightly.
bit. It wasn't too big of a deal, but they
Oh, no,
caused
no,
a-
it was quite a deal.
Well, I mean, I spent most of the fight looking at a wall I'd never seen before. So
And
I-
then you almost got hurt badly. In fact, all of us did.
there were some grabby tentacles. That's good.
Yes, but while we did manage it, we did get, most of us did get hurt.
We're still
And that-
conscious, though.
In that case, I will have to fill out the proper paperwork to reward you. Come back in the morning, and I shall give you what you earned then.
Alright.
Fair enough.
Matt,
Good
did...
morning.
Oh, sorry. Matt, did you forget that they were only going to pay us depending on how tough the mission was?
Well, yeah, but Thorgrim didn't think it was tough at all.
God damn it, Thorin.
Well, and not only that's because he first spent the fight looking at the wall, then he went around the complete opposite direction, beating up a bunch of angels, and was not. He was only like trapped by the black tentacles for like a round, not even.
I think that's still a bunch. It's just he's sort of underselling it, and that is not good for money.
He doesn't think it. Well, honestly, I don't think he thinks it was much of a problem at all. He doesn't know what happened to the rest of you.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
know.
wasn't there for most of the fight.
I know. That's why Adel was quickly trying to salvage that sentence. But anyway,
Yeah, frankly, I think they have two different accounts of the same fight.
oh, before we go, and Adel will hand Hubert the contract. Can you look this over, please? See if this is good. Essentially, it's promising that if we decide not to let them make an enchantment with Hydra Heart, they will return it to us intact.
You see if this are good word.
Yes.
Hubert reads it over before handing it back and says, I see nothing that says that it will not be returned.
Aha, those are good word.
Alright. And then she will hand the heart over to the secretary. Okay, give this to your enchanter.
They nod to this.
When should we return for the finished product?
Finished. He needs to figure out what he can do with it first. Which he will most likely work overnight to do so.
Okay, then I suppose it's convenient. We'll meet up tomorrow for payment and find out what he can make with it.
Nods to this.
Alright. We'll turn and head along. Going to head back to the inn.
Alright. As you guys are leaving the guild, you see George walking up towards you.
Oh, hello, George.
Hello?
Where were you?
having a talk.
With who?
Take a wild guess.
Remember what we promised him, yes?
I think
I did, and I
think-
didn't say anything.
I
Alright.
think he was talking with his mom.
Well, did you talk to her about the big problem?
We should get somewhere before talking about this at all.
Fair point.
The compound room?
Want to go upstairs?
Yes, we should head to the inn and then to one of the rooms.
Alright.
Right?
Compound room?
Back to inn. Hey yo, who the fuck is this motherfucker? Who he?
Hit the wall there. We can't see him. Don't ask questions that we can't see.
There's a window there, you can see him just fine.
That motherfucker.
What?
Suspicious.
Who that motherfucker?
Ah, yes. It's suspicious that this guy has other patrons than us.
Suspicious, I say! Anyway.
He must serve us and only us, meh.
Yes. Okay.
That's not how you stay in business. We're absolute shit on money.
Us and only us, meh.
This is a big establishment. We earn enough to pay taxes on that.
We pay taxes?
Nah, we're adventurers. We don't pay taxes.
We don't pay taxes. The shopkeep probably fucking does.
Tax evasion. Bunch of Yoshis.
I used to be an adventurer like you, but then the taxes caught up with me. Alright. So we're all at the inn. Wait, where's George?
Where is
Disappeared
George?
again.
George, why aren't you on this map? Did the map eat you again?
Probably.
I mean, by all means, does George even need to stay here? Doesn't he have, like, his own place?
He doesn't
Or
need to
room?
stay here, but he wants to be with you guys right now.
Oh.
Aw, Fwen.
Otherwise, he would obviously have not followed you to the tavern.
Slumber party, anyone?
No.
What?
Alright. We're all here. Wait, where's Jubilee?
Wait,
She
where's
must...
Jube?
Well, she must have arrived before we did.
Why are you up here?
Because she never
I
left.
said I went to the inn first.
Yeah, so
She was gonna go rest.
Yes, but it's this room. I don't
Oh,
remember
I thought
whose
it was
room.
I thought it was the second room. My bad. That's my bad.
Nah, you think fucking Poe Masters only does one window? Nah, you go for two.
I suppose we'll have to check on her room then. And if she's there, we can just speak in her room.
I'll do
If
that.
it's in a state that can be safe to be spoken in.
If you need me to, I'll go check up on her. See if
Feel free.
Alright. We'll go and do that. So we gotta figure out how to move to. Damn it.
Click and drag?
I try that, but it doesn't. Like, I have to move my token in bits and pieces.
Bruh.
Oh. Mouse wheel. That works. Very politely knock on the door.
You apparently get no answer.
Hello?
It's just me. You okay? The fuck
Yes,
are you
I'm
doing
just
here?
freshening up a little bit.
Oh. Okay. Making sure you're safe, that's all.
Did something happen?
No, just you weren't here when, or you weren't at the dining area when you came in, so you were. a
Yeah,
bit
I just
worried.
thought I'd freshen up, get a small change in, and basically, relax.
That's fair. Just worried, you know. Well, if you need anything, call me, alright?
I'll be fine. Don't worry. I'll come down if you guys need to talk.
Yeah, I think we're going to gather in one of the rooms to
All right, which
talk about
one?
something important. Well, since you're here, do you mind if we all go into yours?
Sure, just give me a few minutes.
Isn't it technically Master's room?
Well, he's not here.
Still might be a good idea to use Tauntaun's room,
Yeah, mine has a desk.
Fine.
and in case we want Poe not to know.
Yeah, who knows what wards he has in there?
Yeah, he wasn't there, so probably for the best, actually. So I'm gonna go back to the rest of the group. Says it's probably best that we convene in Tauntaun's room because we don't want Masters to be privy to the information that we have.
Very well.
Eventually, I'll make my way over there once I'm done changing.
You okay?
Yep, I'll just stand and head over to Tauntaun's room.
I'll knock, then come in.
Alright, we all here.
Except Patterson
your-
and
oh.
the cat.
The cat's not here.
The cat is not here, that's right. So you don't get the cat anymore.
Except for the small army that Tauntaun has.
Yeah, that small army that cost me like.
Oh wait,
It's like
Patterson's not here either. He got killed.
Yeah, but his corpse is probably here.
You know what? I'll make his token the bone pile.
Yeah.
He's probably got, Tauntaun's probably got his skull on the other side of the table.
Nah, I'm just holding it Hamlet style.
Oh god.
We
Alas, poor.
Alas, poor Patterson. I knew him well.
Yeah.
I do not know the that full thing, aside from to be or not to be.
Yeah, same. I just know
it's a-
to be or not to be. That is the question.
It's a pretty long, monologue.
Hamlet is a long one.
Hamlet is like Shakespeare's most boring play, if you ask me. But
Hamlet is also basically the Lion King.
yes, well, the Lion King is
the other way
basically Hamlet.
Yeah, I think there's actually a few lines in there that are just stolen straight from Hamlet.
I mean, if you're gonna steal from anyone, steal from Shakespeare. All right. So, in the room, there, Adel Sarday just leans against the wall and says, "So we have some things to discuss, to put it lightly."
Mm-hmm. When we came up here, there's no one else like just in other rooms, right?
No, not as far as you know, at least.
Okay. So,
Before we start, Adel Sarday, do you mind doing a quick check?
For what?
Anything magical in the room right now?
Hubert?
I do not know. Well, I think he does have detect magic, though he has to use he does have to use a second level spell slot for it.
Does he have any?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Well, if he could detect magic, he could probably do it as a ritual.
Yeah, paladins don't have the ritual caster tag.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that actually only full casters that have it, I think.
Hubert will take a moment before looking around, and he shakes his head, showing that there's nothing magical within the room.
Alright, just wanted to make sure we weren't being listened in on.
That's a good thing to watch out for. You know, can't be too careful.
And then there's me, who's already picked up my next 2 spells, one of which will just require us to not look anymore. Well,
So-
it's worth it.
To make a long story short, essentially, and she looks at George, I think that the cults that we were dealing with before are planning to do something to your city. Potentially an invasion, a siege, or something. But the Redeemed are their main enemy force. Well, their main force.
What cult?
That is a good question. It's
That's a
one
long
of three
story.
or
Allow-
five.
Allow me to explain it basically to you.
No, it would be one of three. Depends what stage of this world's at.
To explain it in a way that makes more sense, essentially, there are 5 elder gods, 2 of whom are currently going around without any impulse control. These godly beings, before I get corrected, their job is to consume universes to essentially keep things in check. Unfortunately, 2 of those 3 are going around eating universes without anybody around to keep them in check. There is a cult that seems to follow their bidding for whatever reason. And in the world that we are from, we face them. Their MO seems to be invading places and causing as much chaos as possible. I think they're planning to do the same thing here.
Wow, Edelsarde, you just butchered an entire ass cult's thing.
I would trust you to explain it, but you seem to be unable to do
Okay,
it without
first of all,
Algorians
Edelsarde
in
is
the
wrong
middle.
on the number. There are 5. Count with me, Edelsarde. 5.
You said 5.
I
She
said
just
5.
2. She just
Yep,
simply
she
said
did.
2 are currently being active.
However, there are 3 that are supposed to be working. The other 2 are supposed to keep the other 3 in check.
That's
Well, one of the other 2 are supposed to keep the other 3 in check.
also what I said.
No.
Someone hasn't been listening.
Anyway, point
Also,
is,
Tom, if you say the phrase "clam daddy in the sky," I think I'm going to tape your mouth shut.
we'll get to that another time when Hubert's not.
Hubert's the one who told you that.
Yeah, I know. That's why Tauntaun said out loud, we'll get to that another time when Hubert's not here. Anyways, so 3 of them are what are destroying worlds. Or, well, rather not destroying, more just ripping out of space-time, so the 5 can eat. Primarily
So
done
anyway.
in 3 phases. First phase, beasts. Second phase, usually a lot of transmutation. Third phase, that one's the doozy. Primarily the one where they just kind of rip it out. So once again, depends what phase this is as to what's going to be done.
Is there a
Okay.
sign of the phases triggering?
I don't know, is there?
No.
Nope.
So trying to figure out what phase they're on is out the window.
Well,
So,
there is somewhat of a pattern. We saw it back in our world, remember? The reason why that person got killed because he went a phase too early with transmutation. That's when he jumped the gun by invading before things were prepared.
Yeah, essentially. However, the lawful one of the 3 is just kinda booted.
I thought we were here to talk about the other thing, though.
I know, that's the
Oh, yeah.
information I was...
The fire.
Yeah.
Yes. The fire was...
You think, George, you could get me in to see that fire?
No.
Well, shit.
The fire was brought
Because
by
the-
the... Oh, sorry, continue.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, the fire was brought by the Rifter. The Rifter who stole power from the third one, the Ben, the one who was kicked out.
Yeah, which means that by all means, they could be reaching towards stage 3 since they have someone to replace number 3. Probably
Maybe.
won't be as...
So what
Look
you're
at it.
thinking is a fire is some sort of beacon?
I don't know about a
Alright.
beacon.
Could be. Or it could just not be tied to our 5 or my 5 at all. Are they still my 5? I count them.
But that is the basic gist of it. I think that they're going to use the fire as a staging. Well, they are using the fire to create an army that they will then use to attack the city from within.
So you're saying the fire is like a big old, hey, we're here, attack here, kind of like.
Sort of.
Or a portal. One of the two.
That would explain a lot.
Although, since it's turning one thing into another thing, I would assume that this is Fleshy Boy's work.
So what can you tell us about the fire, George?
Apparently, the person who oversees it is my mother's right-hand man, or I guess General Luminarch, and he keeps it very hush-hush and close to himself.
Even from her?
Mm-hmm.
That's surprising.
And she has never found that suspicious.
Now that's concerning.
Why has she never
I believe
questioned him about it?
I believe it's because they work so close together that it's kind of just she in some way trusts him.
Ah, I understand.
So apparently he hasn't always worn that mask. From what she said, something happened that caused his face to get scarred, and that's why he wears it. Apparently he was very handsome before too, so I guess it was something so bad that he just started wearing the mask.
I feel like that's not the whole story.
Yes. Have you ever... Do you have any inkling of what he looks like without his mask?
No.
Would anyone still alive know that we could talk to?
Probably Azazel, but that would be it.
Only them? Really? Damn.
Well,
There's one person I know about that have done it.
I wonder who scarred his face.
I'm
You
not
said-
asking who scarred his face. I'm asking just who would know his original face.
I know that, but it's just curiosity.
She said that the claims were pulled, but I told her it was from a reliable source, so she's going to be doing some thorough investigation and do it herself.
What, with the fire?
That and the other thing I told her about with the bone collector guy. She said that was also concerning because she didn't know about someone controlling him.
Mm.
Hopefully
Bone
she'll...
collector guy.
The bone collector guy is the serial killer, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's being controlled. I could ask her if there's anyone that might have had problems with my father that might have been that, but I don't know.
Well, who was your father exactly?
Well, let me think.
I mean, he was obviously good enough for fucking angels, so...
I was gonna say, he must have been one hell of a man to get an angel.
During
But
part of the
even
war,
I
about this,
can't back it.
was there like a soldier or anything like that, or was he just regular?
He was a general.
Where was I DM? Oh.
He was a general, so
A general?
Like a human military general.
So, was he one of the leaders? One of the three leaders? Like Azazel, Luminarch?
no.
No, so he wasn't on their level. So it
How
couldn't
the
have been...
hell did he bag an angel?
There are many ways, Tonton.
Okay, but when you stop and think about it, from what we've just found out, it doesn't seem like they ran in the same social circles.
If you're so curious about it, I'm sure you could ask Azazel.
Sure, if I can get a meeting with her.
But...
Fucking bring this up over a spot of tea.
I figured then it might have been an internal power struggle, but... Well, it
That's
could
my
be.
assumption now.
Actually,
If I
hold
had
on.
to guess, it could have been this bone collector guy is either working for someone or he's the other guy's good controlling the bone collector. He's is either working for someone or he's doing the dirty work himself behind the scenes.
Hey, Hey, George, this thing's after you, too. What's the general view of the people in charge towards you?
From what I can tell, they're generally, well, probably not as respected now considering the terms of my original exile, but
What?
I'm
still,
sorry.
they still, oh, yeah, that's why I was in the other city. I was exiled and was sent to do a mission.
Why?
You mind mentioning a little bit more about that? That seems important.
Yeah, you don't normally just get randomly exiled. What did you do?
Yes.
Well, I might have posed myself as an actual angel.
I mean,
Why?
I'm not that dumb. That's how you get smited.
Why did you do that?
Yeah. It was. I had finally had learned more about my other side of being able to do more things with my power, my other half, my angel half, and so I kind of let loose a little bit, and I kind of got into the illusion that I was somehow an actual angel.
And so to make up for that crime, they sent you on a mission.
Mm-hmm. Or I was exiled until I complete the mission.
That's pretty lenient.
Considering,
Well, when your mom's the leader of the city,
yes, I guess that makes sense. Still,
however, I
this-
don't think that would be any reason to try to murder me. This murder happened way before I even did that.
Exactly.
Yes, this is why I'm asking prior to this exile, what was the general's view of you by people that have influence and power in the city? Not just the head honchos, but like guild leaders, etc.
I mean, I believe I was pretty well respected. I worked within the ranks of the military, so
What about your father?
that I'd have to probably ask Azazel about. It's been a while since I thought about that. But he was a general. I would probably believe there was some way that someone would want to either take his position or get rid of him for something.
I imagine
Take
so.
his position, or jealousy.
Position, jealousy, or is getting close to a truth that he shouldn't know.
All of those sound.
How does Luminarch feel about your mother?
Better question. How well known is your relation?
With my mother?
Do people know she's your mother?
I
Okay.
would probably believe so. I mean, even it's kind of. I believe that was probably like it was an exile, so it's kind of I don't know. Some people might be in the know, some people might not be. I don't really know what everyone in the city thinks.
So what if it will just hear me out? What if the reason he's a target is because someone wants to keep that information from being more known?
Well, it would depend. He doesn't even know what information would cause him to get hunted.
I think Jubilee's meaning who his mother is.
I don't think that is the case, given how vocal
George
he has
is-
been about it.
George is gonna try to just close his eyes for a second. He's gonna try to contact Azazel real quick.
You have no issues. You have no issues once again coming into contact with her, and she goes, "Hearing from you twice in one day. To what do I owe this pleasure?"
Was there? I don't know if you knew, but was there anything that Dad was looking into or finding out about, or if he had a mission of some sort before he ended up getting killed?
I do not believe so. Then if he was, he had not informed me of such. I still don't really know as to why he was the one being targeted by the attack.
Was he? Who was he approved by though to be a general?
Everyone. Myself, Luminarch, and the other two.
Was there anyone that had? There was no one that had any opposition to him.
No. He had proven himself time and time again. It was unanimous.
Also, apparently they're very curious as to how he bagged you, but that's another time.
Don't loop me in with that.
Yeah, I didn't really care, but sure, go for it.
My child, I see it's time to tell you about the angels and the bees.
Oh, she actually said that to me.
No.
Well, so,
Oh, come on, that would be funny.
Instant hang up. It's like, nope, not today.
okay. So, apparently he
And
was.
then her just chuckling to herself.
Okay. So he kind of represents. Apparently he was approved and liked by everyone, including the leaders. He had proven himself. So it's kind of a unanimous decision.
So jealousy is not it then. Then it must be something to...
Not entirely out of the question here, Edelsarde.
For the most part, at least.
You gotta remember, people do hide their thoughts.
True enough.
Especially if you're in a high enough position of power where you would have possibly gotten this promotion, but then got passed up over it by another person.
Assuming if George is correct, what would someone gain from saying no? That they didn't approve? Well, saying yes when they didn't approve, I should say.
I think it's more of a, they have to keep up appearances and just, silently jealous.
But I don't think that would drive someone to cause murder over that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. People are very petty sometimes.
Well, we'll put a pin in that idea. There is still the other thing of what he could know, but that would not explain why they're after you, because you don't know what he knew.
I believe it's from what she told me, there was nothing he was looking into that he had told her about, so I believe it's also in line of what you were
No, George just said that he had told her about, and Tauntaun pointed out that little line that George had just said.
Moving on.
Also, you're very quiet. Why are you so quiet?
Who's quiet?
You just sound quiet.
You were speaking quietly.
I've changed literally nothing of my setup, so I have no idea.
Weird. Anyway,
However, I think it's more towards what you might have said earlier, Adol, about people trying to destroy the city from within, because from what Azazel said earlier, this serial killer has not left the city.
That's exactly it. If they were only going after you, they wouldn't have left the city when you were in exile. But they did. They attacked us miles
They
outside
attacked
the
us
city.
within the reach of Haven. It's still within the borders.
Ah, right. That's a good point.
If there is a range that he has, that might be his range. If he suspiciously leaves the city and I get attacked, that'll create a profile for him.
But he's just been killing people randomly.
hey, George, do you think that you could ask your mother about the exact areas of where these killings happen? Along with
To my
dates,
knowledge, it's been all over the city, but I can ask for specific locations.
along with dates and times, if at all possible.
I'm not.
And
giving
I
dates.
hope you're really good at remembering what you did at those dates and times, so we can know if you were near there.
I'm not giving you dates and times.
Well, we did
Let
get...
me be detective.
We did get...
Just roll random fucking dates and times.
We did get some information about it already. It's always... It never happens within 2 or so days of the Holy Cleansing. It only happens at night. It happens to anyone, angel or otherwise, so it's not racially based. And the people that were killed were not linked in any way, which makes it seem less like there's any link between them. The only person that's this... Well, the only two that we know of who are linked between the murders is George and his dad.
Idle Sarday, you're putting a lot of faith in people to be upfront about what they did and did not do.
Redeemed are unable to lie.
Okay, but that doesn't leave people. unable to
They're
lie.
a hive mind, and if they can be controlled, they can probably be prompted to do so.
So you think the Redeemed were lying about the murders?
I don't believe so, but I do believe that they could possibly withhold information.
Oh no, that's true. They definitely withheld a lot of information.
And if there's someone that can control them, be it either Luminarch or whoever you might be working with, then they could probably hear us trying to conversate about that and could tell them
Or,
to not say
the
anything.
original owner of the fire.
That
As
too.
the Rifter.
It might not actually be his fire.
So
Because
he
his
delivered
transmuting
somebody
one
else's
thing
fire.
into another thing that's not really the Ben's thing.
So the puppeteer then?
If the puppeteer works for the coil, then yes. I don't know if the puppeteer works for the coil. He might.
I'm unsure if that would be the puppeteer's MO though. Think about what we know about the puppeteer from our own experiences with him. He
Okay, but
doesn't
it doesn't change that it could be someone tied to the coil on this plane.
That's true.
The
Someone
coil
could be
is the
working with him.
transmuting one. It's definitely not Mox. He's too idiotic for something this grandiose.
Someone underneath him could be smart enough to do it.
No, Mox is the one for Beast. You'd
Oh.
see more barbarians with him than anything else.
But it's
No
true.
offense, Morgan.
It's not safe to assume that the puppeteer is the only one of that area. We did see people under him, at least.
Yes, but Mox is primarily just, I want this beast to be that thing. Now it's angry and yar. Coil is the one that does the transmuty bit. You know, turn this into that. Bend is space.
We are missing lots of information here.
I don't know what the
just-
other two fucking do, so I'm missing a lot of information too.
I'm not referring to them, I'm talking about the flame and who could potentially be in control of it. We have many suspects, but we have no way to narrow the list.
My main concern is that if you
Really
look
even
into it, Luminarch is the one that controls everything concerning the Redeemed and I guess the Flame.
Yes, but we've seen so far, Luminarch is very stubborn. There aren't many ways that we could get information out of him. Wait,
I have a thought, but I don't like it at all.
what's the thought?
Are you aware of the spell known? No. Are you aware of the spell known as Speak with Dead?
Yes.
Take a deep breath. Are there any limitations to that?
Hubert, are you aware of any?
If I remember correctly, it's a time.
The corpse must still have a mouth and not be undead. And the target cannot have been dead for. The spell fails if the corpse was a target of a spell that had died within the last 10 days. So once
Oh.
it passes, once 10 days have passed, you can no longer speak to that dead guy.
Okay, that was just like if the spell was cast on it within the last 10 days. Well, I guess something else. Okay, well that doesn't work.
Wait, hold on. No, the way George said it is correct. My bad. I know there's
so there-
supposedly limited. Oh, no. Apparently you can just talk to anybody.
If we can... he's gonna like rub his eyebrows. If I can potentially convince my mom to let me see my dad's body, we could potentially use the spell and talk and ask him questions.
You're gonna use magic to talk to your dad's corpse?
Yes. Or a
Not-
spirit.
That seems
Not to
kinda
be the
fucked up.
bearer of bad news, George, but how long has your father been dead?
Years now.
then wouldn't his body have decayed to the point where his mouth would no longer feasibly function?
That is true.
I suggest we do something a little more, well, I don't want to say intelligent, but we should try and find one of the corpses of the more fresher victims, so to speak.
Which one's the freshest?
I would have to ask.
Because I am unaware of when the last victim was claimed.
Thorgrim, like, winces and, rubs at his beard, like, I can't believe I just fucking suggested that. Ugh.
I can head over to the military camp and ask who else is looking into it and see if they have the most recent victim, as well as probably pick up my shield.
How long until the purge happens?
2 days.
I won't be able to get more information soon, so maybe I should...
You're a little hard to understand there, bud.
Sorry, I was talking to myself, but... I was gonna say, maybe I should check out a popular tavern or something and try to see if I can listen into some rumors.
Oh, I just had an idea. Fuck my life. I gained it. George is gonna, like, pop his head out and he's going to be like, I just had an idea.
Yeah?
Say it honestly, then.
If this guy can potentially bring back people who are the bone collector, then obviously it's some type of necromancer, correct?
Logical.
And at some point, if he's, depending on whether or not he's undead or affected by the purge, he would have to leave within those 2 days, right?
That makes sense.
So, what I could do, it might be a long list, but I could ask the guard to keep track of the people who leave out of the city and if any of them look in any way suspicious.
That is a good idea.
Okay.
Might
And
help
then at
us
the
narrow down the list a little.
And then at the same time, could ask for the to see where the most recent victim is, and you speak with Dead to see what they might know as well.
Hopefully you'll be allowed to. Well, you'll probably be more likely to be allowed to than us, that's for sure.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if I say you guys are with me, helping with me with that, then I don't see there'd be much of a problem. And if anyone denies it, then fuck it, they're a suspect.
I think the people that would deny it would be the redeemed, and that would put us back at square one, but we will see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't think we've claimed enough merit yet to be able to do things willy-nilly.
Alright, well, if that's the case, I'm gonna start heading towards one of the gates, seeing if I can motion them to keep track of that.
Want any of us to come with?
If you'd like, but I don't know if they... I don't mind.
I think it would be a good idea if we follow, but then again, assuming that's their withholding information when they spot one of us, assuming it's the puppeteer in control, it might be safer if you go on your own.
Yes, again, I don't think we've earned enough merit to be trustworthy around here.
Unfortunately.
Alright, well, if anything, I'll either be back soon or back at the
George,
castle.
before you go, I have a question. Do Redeemed get married?
As to my knowledge, they have no need to be since they're all one mind and they don't really have much of a personality.
But do they? Do they have wives or anything like that?
Other than what they might have had in their previous lives, I don't believe so.
And do they keep those wives even if they turn redeemed?
Their goal at that point is to protect the city. They have no need for any other type of need, I suppose.
I wonder if their old habits begin breaking through the facade.
Indeed.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. Because the person that gave us the mission to go rescue the person from that dungeon who happened to be redeemed, it was his wife. Supposedly.
Assuming that wasn't a ruse after all.
A ruse by who?
Hubert just simply shrugs.
Somebody. People, again, people have the propensity to lie, so.
Yes, but why?
Exactly.
So, let's just
Humans are gonna
take it step by step. 3 things right now is to talk to the wife, talk to the most recent victim, if we can, and get notes of who's actually left the city within these past 2 days.
Alright.
I can try to handle the last 2 if you guys can potentially get to talk to the wife.
We'll need to figure out who it is. The quest paper, and she pulls it out, didn't even have the person's name or address or anything about it.
That's highly suspicious. Also, George, did your father happen to keep a journal that may or may not be coded? Just to toy with the getting too close to something idea some more.
Not to my knowledge, but anything that was probably of his possession would be either with my mother or stored away somewhere.
Well, that's something we'll also have to look into.
Could you ask your mother if he had a journal he kept?
I can ask where his belongings were.
That'll work too.
Now, step out and start heading out.
Alright, good luck. And then...
So- As you are all wrapping up your meeting, each of you hear suddenly in your head, I have a special offer down at the night market tonight. Don't miss your chance for something good, strangers.
You're still fucking here?
You get no reply.
Crap, and I have very
Oh
little.
god, we have subliminal advertisements.
As funny as it is, that's actually what he's doing.
Well, it's not really subliminal, since it's...
I was
well,
joking.
Actually,
No,
I guess it is.
He is actually casting a spell that magically makes any creature within a certain radius of him hear that in their head.
Yeah, but, like, subliminal is more like making you think about it, but I guess that literally is that. So, yes, subliminal advertising.
Alright. You guys doing that? I gotta be right back, because I keep getting the same fucking call.
Alright.
Okay. What do
Just
the
like
rest
that.
of you do?
It's just like that one Simpsons video, or the commercial with the smoking ad. Smoke.
That's
Smoke.
Family Guy.
Family Guy.
Is it Family Guy?
It is Family Guy.
Nah.
Are you
like
smoking
Futurama,
yet?
where they advertise in your dream.
Subliminal advertising is a
That's
bit...
Futurama.
Subliminal
Yeah, that's
advertising
what I
is like... I'm pretty sure it's illegal, and it's more that you just include frames of a product into something else. Like during a movie, it's just one frame of McDonald's, and you don't even see it, but your brain recognizes it, and then it's like, I want to eat McDonald's now. And that's illegal, but that's what subliminal advertising is.
It really not?
Pretty sure it is, but anyway.
In any case, moving
No,
on.
they
What are the rest?
pay to have that in the movie, right?
Dnd, what are you doing?
I am going to go back to the normal table and start looking over the quest paper thingy. Yes, the thing I don't have know the official name for, so I'm just calling quest paper thingy.
It's called a bounty?
Joy, is that a bounty?
Usual term that I know of it?
I honestly don't know what you were referring to, so I can't
The
tell.
paper that we received that has the information about the quest. You know, the one that said, person missing, go to this place to go look at it.
Just call it the quest. quest paper.
It is a quest paper thingy.
Makes more sense. Rolls off the tongue. It's one word. Since, you know,
Actually,
normally you
three
find
things.
quests on a bounty board.
There's actually 3 words, but
What, bounty?
yeah. No, quest paper theme.
Well, DM said quest paper.
I'm adding the thingy. So,
Hey, if you want to add a thingy, just go right ahead. I guess it's a mail paper.
Adel's going to look it over, like, for anything. But while she does, she's going to glance at this dude. What's he doing?
Well, the only thing you can really tell about him is he is a very properly dressed orc. And right now he is drinking a very large mug of ale. Other than that, he's not really doing much of anything else.
I guess I'll leave him alone. No reason to bother him.
Looking at the orcish man, Thorgrim, his mind flashes back to his master. And while Ornex is not nearly as well dressed as this one, he still, it's a small twinge of sadness.
Adel looks up at Thorgrim. If you want to talk to him, feel free. I'm sure he'd appreciate some company.
Yeah. Sure. Look, nope. Sit down on the stool next to the orcish gentleman.
He looks over to you, nods before holding out the mug in a greeting-esque type way.
Nods, and after ordering an ale of his own, will gently clink it against the other. Cheers.
Yes, mate.
What do they call you?
My name is Gurak.
Gurak, eh? Pleasure to meet you. I'm called
Fine.
Thorgrim.
Fine to make your acquaintance, too. I'm accidentally going into merchant here. I did not mean to do that.
That's fine. So, what's a well-dressed orc like you doing in Haven?
I have some business that I have to attend to.
Oh. Is this business private?
Just a matter of selling weapons and whatnot.
Weapons.
Arms dealing is one of the many trades I have under my belt.
Good to hear, actually. I happen to be quite the fan of weaponry myself. My friends and I, he jerks his thumb back at the other table, we kind of do adventure and stuff, so I make a habit of carrying at least one weapon with me at all times, just in case.
I did notice your merry little crew. It's a surprise to see there's a kobold following you around.
Yeah, she's one of our newest recruits. She's pretty good with her, pretty good with magic.
Now, how did you manage to get a creature that lives primarily in the wilds to follow you?
Found her, talked to her, said okay, and followed us.
Just like that.
Well, we had to protect her from a bunch of deep dwarves first, but, you know, beyond that,
Deep
not much else after.
You mean the Duragar?
Yeah, them.
Interesting.
Durg.
So,
God damn it, Thorgrim.
so
what you're doing right now.
the Duragar, and as he says this, he rubs his hand against his chin, which means she was originally a slave or to be captured. From what I know about the Duragar, they're slavers primarily.
No. Just found her and she was being harassed by him.
I see. Well, that was a very noble thing of you to do? You said
Well-
your name was Thorgrim, correct?
Yep.
Interesting. Interesting.
And you're Gurak, right? Weapons dealer and...
I prefer to call myself an entrepreneur.
Ooh. Fancy.
I
You say weapons dealer?
Yes. The orc now turns to look at you, clasping his fingers together. I came here on business. I'm selling a few trinkets to the militia that work in this city.
Like?
Have you ever heard of Darksteel?
He'll kind of look over at Thorgrim.
Ever heard of Darksteel?
George, you get to roll history with disadvantage. Thorgrim, you just roll history. As a
Okay.
dwarf, you may have heard about this because of how much they mine.
Maybe?
You are not very familiar with Darksteel. Thorgrim and George, you have no idea what it is.
But I do know about it, kind of.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Don't know much about it.
Only heard of it. Well, that's a bit understandable, honestly. It's very rare and hard to come by.
And I would imagine expensive.
Only if you make it expensive.
Do you not make it expensive?
Well, I have a fairly abundant supply of it, so I can sell it at a reasonable price.
Thorgrim rubs his chin.
Dark steel is a very unique metal that deals a little extra damage to anything that's of a fiendish nature.
That sounds mighty interesting, actually. And he kind of looks over Gurak's shoulder at George, and then just sort of and like you can see the glimmer in his eye, like, ooh, this is a good idea, or this is cool.
Do you really want to be in more debt, Thorgrim?
No, I
So,
don't have enough money for it right now, but later, maybe we could try it out.
More debt.
so what do you have to offer?
Depends on what kind of weaponry you all like to use.
George will just summon up his longsword. Got anything for this?
A long sword. Give me a moment. And he opens up a little rucksack at his hip, and you watch as he reaches his hand down to his elbow, and it goes much farther than you expect it to, before he pulls out a very dark-hued blade, but it is in fact a longsword, and he holds it out to you for you to investigate.
I'll go over and take a close look at it.
Meanwhile, Thorgrim's staring bug-eyed at the bag that goes way too far, and just goes, "Holy shit!"
Do I
Talking
feel
Vegas.
anything from it, or
What'd you say, George?
do I feel anything from it, or can I tell anything about it?
As far as it looks less like a standard longsword. There doesn't appear to be anything magical in nature about it, but it does look like it's made of a strange metal, which you have now been informed is called dark steel.
And what might this thing do? Other than being a longsword, actually.
Well, like I was telling your compatriot, it harms fiends a bit more than standard weaponry. Very useful to have on you if you aren't inclined to have magic and decide you need to go hunt some demons.
Tauntaun's just going to immediately look at Hubert.
I may take you up on that.
Sounds
Well, Before we discuss price, I need to ask, are you a soldier boy?
And sir, yes.
Well, if you are a soldier, and he looks over to the barkeep who nods, you're very well known around, at least in this area, before he looks back to you and goes, well, in that case, I think I can give you a fairly good price on this. What say 20 gold?
I believe you got yourself a deal. Is there any way I could convince you to give my compatriots here a similar or at least somewhat decent discount? Considering they're actually very, very well. What's the word for it? That they can handle themselves in a fight.
Well, I only offer soldiers the discount for free. If they want to try and get a discount, we'll have to make a game out of it.
Oh.
A friendly little arm wrestle, and I'll happily sell it to them for 20 gold each. Well, if they want a long sword.
I'd
Question, before this happens, are
Well,
we
first,
allowed...
let me take that longsword for hands real quick, and he'll hand him over 20 gold.
He then reaches back into the bag, pulls out a scabbard for it, and then offers it to you.
All right, I'll take that.
All right. So one at a time. I don't know who spoke first, but Tauntaun, what were you trying to say?
Are we allowed to have somebody do the arm wrestle for us? I'm a wizard, so I don't have grip strength.
No.
Alright, well then I'm out of the running.
Now, Thorgrim?
I would take you up on an offer, Garacle boy, but see, even if I were to win the arm wrestling match, which I mean could happen, couldn't happen, I only have 10 gold on me, so I can't really pay you even if I could.
What kind
if you win, I can match the 10 gold.
Ah, darn, I was just about to offer 10 gold. Oh, that was beaten to the punch.
What kind of weapon do you use, my good Chuck?
Thorgrim will take the warhammer off of his back and set it gently up.
Which fucking warhammer? You got like 3.
He has 2 warhammers and well, he doesn't have the mace anymore, so he has 2 warhammers.
2 warhammers and a quarterstaff. So I'll take Smasher out and I'll set it beside me gently. Something about this variety, I think.
Would you like to have an upgraded version of that?
I would, but again, I don't have a lot of money on me, so...
You watch as he reaches into the bag again, and he begins pulling out a very long weapon, as he is soon holding a maul, holding it with 2 hands, and sets the heavy tip of it on the ground, and it's nearly as tall as he is. And he goes, how about this?
Thorgrim's jaw drops. How much for this?
It will be 20 gold, unless you can beat me in an arm wrestle, at which point it's 15.
Can we lower it down to 10 if I can?
Roll persuasion.
Oh boy. Persuasion? Nope.
You know what? If you beat me, but I'll have to pull out all the stops.
Then I hope you don't mind if I do as well.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Let's move to a more spacious table, shall we?
Let's.
He'll just place 10 gold at the counter, and he's gonna start walking out with the sword.
Who wants to be our referee?
I can.
He motions you to have a seat. Garak will then set his elbow on the table before propping his hand up ready for the arm wrestle.
Okay.
Damn, he's not even gonna push up his sleeves.
Thorgrim is going to pull up his sleeves, slam his elbow on the table, and hold his hand out to be gripped upon.
Okay. He will slowly grip your hand, and as he does, you see a primal smile cross his lips before you watch as his pupils begin glowing red, and his arm begins seeming to bulk up in strength before the sleeve of his right arm rips entirely.
Thorgrim grins and grits his teeth, and the symbol of the bear around his neck glows.
Tauntaun is drooling.
And he flexes, almost ripping his own shirt as he, tightens his grip.
All right. Roll a strength check, and it's going to be honestly hilarious because both of you have advantage.
Yep, because we're both raging.
Mother of
Tauntaun is
God.
just sitting there drooling at this.
Just a straight strength check.
Yep.
22.
All right. So the match starts off, and immediately, hold on, I gotta do the math again real quick. Immediately, you begin tying. You begin tying with one another, as it seems that neither of you are able to push the other down before slowly Gurek begins pushing your hand one third of the way down.
Whoa. He rolled really well.
He rolled only slightly higher than you.
Damn it. Okay. Let's go. Damn it.
This time, unfortunately, you're taken aback at how strong he is, and he takes advantage of it and pushes it down, and you know that if you don't manage to strengthen up and push him back, you're going to lose very quickly.
Fuck. Damn you being taller. One more time. Ah, fuck.
Alright.
Curse you, bad rolls.
See. Yeah. Unfortunately, you try your best to heave him back, at which point he just slams your hand onto the table and says, "Good try."
Thorgrim, with the force of the blow, or force of the push, actually gets knocked off of the table. Or off of the chair. Ow!
My
Stupid tall-
apologies.
He stands up. Stupid tall people grumble.
I assure you, it has nothing to do with my height.
Didn't know you were also, able to do that.
He then lifts both hands, grabs his collar the way that he is in his profile, and goes, "It is rather interesting to see someone else who's attuned with nature as I am."
Yeah, I guess you could say I've led a rather spiritual life until now. And he pats the amulet over around his neck.
Ironically, the same spiritual path that I have taken.
Ah, fellow bear buddy, eh?
Yes.
Glad to hear it. But, a loss is a loss, and I guess I'm not getting that discount, so...
Unfortunately not.
Guess I can't pay you, so...
George left 10 gold on the table, so you have a total of 20.
Oh. I didn't realize that was for me. So...
To be fair, I was pointing out that George left money somewhere. Oh, get an answer from George on fucked up score.
He left it specific. I know what he left it for. He left it for Thorgrim.
Wow, George. Yeah, no, this man's gonna lose.
He said,
Out of the
George said he was gonna match Thorgrim. He was trying to be helpful.
Fulgrim will look at the money on the table, then sort of just put two and two together and go, oh, wait! And he'll scoop up the money and he'll pull the money out of his own pouch and put it together. 20 gold. Exactly.
Thorgrim, if I may be so helpful as to ask, how are you going to eat?
He kind of just puts two and two together again.
Surely one of you has magic that can tide him over, right?
Right.
We?
And at this, Gurek will lift them all and set it on the table and go, the choice is yours, my friend.
Well, I still have plenty of rations, so I can still at least give him some rations until he gets some money.
I actually have rations enough for almost 4 weeks, so I'm good.
Oh wow! So yeah, he's good on food actually.
Yeah. So, Maul, yoink, and he pulls it off the table, and he's like,
All right. So, a maul is a heavy weapon and a two-handed weapon, and rolls 2d6 damage.
Ooh.
Just straight out the gate.
Okay.
And this is for both you and George. If the creature you are attacking is a fiend, it deals an additional d6 damage.
Okay.
Which
Is
means
longsword still the regular D10, or is it more damage now?
your longsword is a d8 unless you are two-handing it, at which point it is a d10, yes.
Okay.
Remember how to add weapons to.
At,
There we
at
go.
this, Gurek will stand up for dusting his pants off and says, well, this was a fun endeavor. I had better go to my room and change. I seem to have busted my sleeve, unfortunately.
As have I. Oops.
It was a pleasure meeting you. As for the rest of you, I do hope that we have time to chat a little more. And with that, he'll begin walking away.
Bye. Take care.
Well, that was interesting.
I kill him. He's nice.
What's that all about?
Man.
I challenged him to a arm wrestling contest to get a discount on this new hammer I got.
And Tauntaun got to see bulging muscles. By the way, he's still drooling.
Remember where you're at, Tauntaun.
That is bad. The man ripped his shirt open with just an arm.
So, what time is it exactly?
At this point, it's getting close to dark. The sun is beginning to set. You all spent quite a bit of time down in the dungeon, by the looks of it.
Yeah, that makes sense given what we went through.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sir, we entered mid-noon. Yeah, makes sense.
Mid-noon?
Mid-afternoon.
Noon?
The middest of noons.
Well,
Mid-afternoon.
I know, I'm just fucking with you.
Ada will slowly just look out from the paper and say, "This thing is practically useless."
That's a
Does that
shame.
mean I can see it?
Go ahead.
Point. Point. Point.
She hands it to you.
Anyone got lemon juice?
No.
Why would I have lemon juice?
I mean, we are in a bar, so...
Fair point.
Never hurts to ask people I know first. Hey there, buddy, old
At least
pal,
he's trying.
Reynolds Company.
He looks to you and goes, "How can I help you today?"
Do you happen to have any lemon juice?
I have very fresh squeezed lemons, in fact, yes.
Awesome. Can I just get some raw lemon juice?
He blinks a bit to this before lifting up a lemon and sets it on the counter and says, "1 gold."
I'll give him a gold.
Alright.
We deduct the gold. Ew, now I'm on an odd number. Ugh. How about I do that later?
Oh, wow.
Alright.
Perfect for you.
It's a horrible joke. Anton isn't odd, he's insane. There's a difference. And now, it's time for a really weird trick. Putting lemon juice on the paper and then holding it up near fire without catching it on fire.
There are no
See if
secret
there's
messages.
invisible ink.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
There are no secret messages.
Tauntaun's just going to put his head down. Well, fuck.
I also had
Told
that
him a certain
idea.
way.
Was a good attempt, Tauntaun.
I also had that idea, but I highly doubted it was going to work.
You never know.
I knew in this situation. No, that quest was incredibly vague from the get-go. No information, no name of the person we're rescuing, barely any information about the quest giver. That and many people had gone on that quest and, well, not many people, at least one other party went on that quest and did not return. I would find it suspicious if I knew exactly what their usual MO is, but I don't. This may be how they usually do things.
You could always just check other quests, see if they're the same.
There were none other available. I did ask for other potential quest things, and they said no.
Always check tomorrow.
I suppose we can.
Are we
I'm
there
heading over
anyway,
there
right?
anyway.
Or they have to give the weapons back to the widow at some point, right?
You really think any of us are good at being stealthy?
Hubert?
I'm relatively good at it, actually.
I am quite proficient in stealth.
Hubert, can you track where they're going to send those weapons to, if they send them anywhere at all?
The weapons that we gave to the receptionist or the weapons of that orc?
No, the ones we gave to the receptionist.
I will see what I am able to do. Though I wish I would have been told to do this while we were still on the grounds.
Yes, unfortunately, that never occurred to me until just now.
Huh.
Do you think it will be possible, though?
I have managed to break my way into more secure hideouts. I think I will handle just fine.
Perfect.
Hubert, you live an interesting life.
True that. Either way, we just need to find out where they're going to take those weapons to, if anywhere. So you may not even need to break in. You may just need to wait until someone comes to collect them.
The unfortunate thing is I will not know who is coming in to collect them, and depending on how discreet they are, I will not know if they are smuggling them out. Which means I need to keep my eyes on the metaphorical prize to ensure I follow the correct culprit.
Alright. Hold on, I need to check something.
Guess it's a late night for Hubert again.
How long does this last for?
Is Mighty Punches?
No.
Punch.
Mightiest of punches.
Shoot.
Punch though.
Damn. Not nearly long enough. Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, good luck, Hubert.
He nods before heading on his way.
Alright, so we should know more coming tomorrow.
Anything else you guys wish to do through the night?
No,
Thorgrim
no,
is-
Nothing in particular.
Not
Thorgrim's
even,
Thorgrim's probably going to spend the majority of the night just admiring his new hammer.
not even going to go see what new offers the night market holds.
You know what? Yeah, Tauntaun will go out to the night market. Done.
Where's
Just to make sure he stays out of trouble, I'll go with him.
where's that thing from Squidward that's like, I don't have any money?
Yeah, I know that's Thorgrim right now because he just spent all of it.
I feel
know
if-
And some of George's.
You know who did have money? Hubert. You know who's constantly trying to give you his money? Hubert.
you know who ain't here at the moment? Hubert.
And whose fault is that?
Hubert.
Mine.
Well, who came up with the idea? Who mentioned that?
Yo.
You?
Okay, let's be real. He'd only give the money to Edel Sarday.
Not true.
In any case, I do have some money, so I'll go with Tauntaun then.
I mean,
Before
he
that-
definitely fucking Tauntaun.
Before that, George, what you doing?
He's heading towards the gate with the sword and everything.
Okay.
I think he's also been working on binding it to himself so he can summon it at any point.
I think that takes a long rest, or a short rest, doesn't it?
I think it's like an hour.
Okay. Well, it doesn't take an hour for you to walk to the front gate, but you're sure you'll be bound to it before the end of the night. As you come up, you see two humanoid guards standing there, watching people as they enter, and they look to you and give you a small salute.
Well, gentlemen,
Pleasure to see you today. How can we help you?
I was wondering if by chance, the cleanse is coming up, correct?
Yes.
Has there already been people leaving the city?
Swarms of people leave the city every day, especially travelers.
Okay. Well, I have an odd request.
Okay.
If you, by chance, and this is the only gate they can get through, right? I'm pretty sure there's probably other entrances and whatnot.
Yeah, of course. There's several entrances one can come into the city.
Are you guys able to keep in contact with the other gates?
At the end of the day, yes, but other than that, not really, no.
Okay.
But there's a
Well-
gate at the north, south, east, and west.
Okay. Well, my request is if by chance you two could possibly take note of anyone potentially suspicious leaving out the city. Just for these
Define-
upcoming 2 days.
Define suspicious, sir.
Potentially in a rush, potentially like items stored anywhere in like a backpack or anything like that. I guess overall in like a weird mood, seeming like they're in a way in a hurry.
We will keep our eyes open, but I'm not sure what all I'll be able to do for you, sir.
Well, I guess let me specify. Those who leave, I guess try to make note of them, and if you see anyone who looks familiar that has left that comes back, then I guess make note of them.
We will do our best for you.
Please make sure the other gates know as well.
He nods to this.
Alright, now... Where to next? Alright, need to go to military camp.
You're wanting to go to
Yes.
a place for your shield, correct?
Place for my shield and where I can talk to someone about the victims.
Okay. Well, the Blacksmith Guild is the one for your shield. I just wanted to make sure that I was on the right track with you.
Okay, so I guess stop by the blacksmith place and then go to where he needs to go to ask about the victims.
Alright. So, you enter the shop that you had given your Hydra scales to, and you see the same blacksmith as before, and he looks over to you and wipes some soot off of his face and goes, "You're back."
Yeah.
Well, your scales have proven to be a bit harder to work with than I originally thought they'd be, but I'm still making good pace to get this shield done for you.
Okay. And did you have to use all the skills, or are there any potentially left over?
Unfortunately, I did have to use everything, but I think you'll be pleased with what I'll come up with.
Alright. And when do you think you'll have that done?
Hopefully by tomorrow afternoon. As said, this has proven to be a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
That's fine. Take your time.
He nods.
Then I'll leave and head to the victims. Or not the victims, where he needs to ask about them.
Alright. Real quick before we jump over to Jubilee and Tauntaun, I find it absolutely hilarious that you all lined up in the fireplace.
Where to? Diagonal alley.
Because this is the door. I didn't.
No, we travel by.
No, well,
Because I didn't actually notice that you all just waltzed your way into the fireplace until now.
We were really cold, but we wanted to warm up before we left.
Winter is coming, after all.
Alright, so
Winter is coming. We travel by flu.
real quick we'll hop over to Tauntaun and Adelsarday.
What?
What? I'm not bringing it up today. Are you kidding me?
I ain't going with him. Are you kidding me?
My apologies. Jubilee,
Yep.
Yeah, the one that I had an orgy with.
what
Come
are
on.
you and Tauntaun doing?
Well, Tauntaun went to go to the night market, so I'm going with him to that.
Easy. Just
Tom
wanted to
wanted to
make
go to the night market, and Jubilee's just there to make sure he doesn't get in trouble.
Alright, just wanted to make sure.
Maybe
that-
peruse whatever they got in case, just in case.
Despite the fact that he's never been in trouble in this city before.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Nah, let me get high.
Well,
We go on a drug bender.
well. It seems that I have the pleasure of seeing two familiar strangers today.
Yep, Clayton told a stranger.
Have we met?
So, what brings you to my fine establishment?
Shopping?
Really?
What else would we do in a store?
What in particular are you hunting for?
I am primarily hunting for spellbooks.
Oh,
More magic.
that one's a bit tricky, stranger, and expensive.
More than 79 gold expensive?
Yes.
Just that, like, very hearty laugh, and then you're serious. Yes. Oh, I love that.
You
I
realize
think if you just did a scroll, it might be a lot cheaper for you.
Yeah, our scroll is cheaper than a whole-ass spellbook.
Of course.
By how much? Are they within the 79 gold range?
Well, you ain't looking for anything particular that packs a particular punch, are you, stranger?
Not really. Not I'm less looking for damaging things, more something that could, say, magically secure a room from all forms of divination, teleportation, and planar travel.
That's a high-level magic there, stranger.
It's only 4th level abjuration. Not very high.
That's still high level for what you're
4th out of 9, that's like mid-level, yeah. That ain't no low-level shit.
Let's see. He begins rummaging around, and eventually pulls out a handful of spell scrolls.
Amazing. Yeah.
The unfortunate thing, stranger, is the ones that you're looking for can range anywhere between 500 and 5,000 gold.
Ugh.
However, the little itty bitty baby ones that are still within your price range would be these. And he slides over cantrip and a handful of first level spells.
Is
Okay.
alarm among those spell scrolls?
Roll a d100.
I just call him Merchant, don't I?
He has never told you his name.
No, I'm asking what I decided to call him the last time we met him.
I do
I'm
not.
fairly certain it was just Merchant.
I do not recall.
I'm just gonna put him down as...
There is an alarm spell scroll in the bundle. Yes.
Hey, Tauntaun, this one might work for you. Pointing out the alarm scroll spell.
My dear merchant friend, could you give me a overall pricing of every spell level you have?
Unfortunately, it will depend on what the spell does, stranger.
Well,
I base my price
price
on
rate.
utility.
Just average price rate.
Well,
That way I know how much I should save up should I want a particular spell.
the cantrips and first level spells will be anywhere between 50 and 100. The second and third level spells will be 101 to 500. And then we get more expensive from there.
Alright, so you said...
And what about this one in particular, pointing at the alarm spell?
I can part ways with that one for 60 gold.
Okay, DM, just so you know, I am trying to write this down in my notes area. That way I can compare the prices between Poe and this guy.
Okay.
So cantrips in first level were 50 to 100?
Yes.
Okay, second level was what?
Second and third is 101 to 500.
101. That is so specific. Do you sell those of 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on?
I do, but they're very pricey.
I would assume so. This is just so that way, should I end up with the money and the ability to cast said spells, I could come find you at... Well, I suppose I would just have to hope that I can find you.
In the meantime, Tauntaun, this alarm spell might work for you.
It might, yes. But there's also other things that I need as well. Like the rest of this merchant thing. Because
Well,
I'm sure the DMs will look at my subclass. I am trying to get a form of money income for Tauntaun. So learning how people price their spell scrolls is handy for me right now.
Alright, so 4th and 5th level will be 501 to 5,000.
Ah, yes, that is a big jump. 6th through...
6th, 7th, and 8th is 5,001 to 50,000.
that would make 50,000 and 1 plus.
Yes.
I can see 9 being that expensive. Although that is a much cheaper starting range than Bowmasters, goddamn.
He's a merchant after all.
This is true. Poe's just a bard. Gotta get by on tips and fame.
Well, while you're deciding that, is there any new merchandise you have in store?
Ah, new. Very. And he reaches over and he pulls out a strange, almost voodoo doll looking thing. However, it looks like it's in a very good condition, and he sets it down and it sits upright perfectly, and he goes, I'm selling this.
What's that do?
Identify that.
And Tauntaun what?
Identify the doll.
As you go to try, he just grips your hand and goes,
No identification.
No.
Then what does it do?
This one's special, and I'm sure it will come in very handy.
In
It
what
will-
way?
It will introduce itself in the morning if you decide to purchase it tonight.
How much?
Well, for a pretty little face like you, I'll give it to you for 25. I assure you, it will be very handy.
Tauntaun's going to immediately turn to Jubilee and just give her puppy dog eyes.
I mean, I was gonna buy it for myself, but I'll help you with the scroll if you need help with that.
But no, I don't need help with the scrolls. Speaking of which, what other scrolls are there?
Alright, so
No, there's alarm.
he has he has Acid Splash, Dancing Lights, and True Strike as cantrips. And as for first level,
Has
he
the
has
useless cantrip?
do what?
I said he has the useless cantrip?
Yes. And as for first level, he has Alarm and Grease.
Oh, both of those are good. Do I already know? I don't remember if I know. I don't think I.
So the alarm spell is 60 gold. By the way, Jubilee will give him 25 gold to purchase the doll.
Okay. He takes the money before plopping the doll in your hand. Make good use of it, and be sure to be ready to introduce yourself.
Not sure what that means, but I look forward to it.
Oh, you'll see. I promise.
So the alarm one was how much? And how much for Grease?
60 for Alarm, and 55 for Grease.
Do you sell scribing paper? Or magic?
What do you mean there, stranger? You'll have to be a bit more explanatory with your questions.
The type of paper that a wizard might use in order to scribe a spell over into their book.
I suppose I could scrounge up a few pieces, but those don't come cheaply, you know.
They never do.
Because I charge a fair price, but 8 gold a page.
It's quick.
Whispering to Tauntaun, that is actually a good price.
She's quick. This is a prize. He's quick.
Yeah, the usual price is 10.
Shh. I know these
I'm
things.
whispering it to him.
I don't know what his passive perception is. You shush. He
He
may have
probably,
big
he probably knows that, so.
He may have big pee-pee. I don't need him knowing that I know these things.
You assume that a merchant would know these things already.
I told you he
Says
had
in
big
between
pee-pee.
us.
Do what?
I said he says in between us somehow. Yeah.
He just peeks his head in between yours, like, what are you talking about?
Things.
How many pages are you want there, stranger?
I have to remember what the fucking scribing rules are. Spell book doesn't contain cantrips, copying a spell into the book. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Copying a spell into the book. Based upon the spell, then seven notation. You guys have wrote it. Notation. The spell is blah 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 blah. Represents material components you expend as you may find ink you need to record. Wait, what? Doesn't say anything about paper. It says ink. Eh. Question, DM.
Yo.
Do I actually need paper to scribe it over? Because in my spellbook thing, it doesn't say that.
Technically speaking, that is not actually an issue. You just need material components, which could, in theory, be the paper. However, as he is selling material components that are typically worth 10 gold for 5 gold, that will, by all accounts, give you half price on your scribing over.
Okay, so we're going to go with bomb, and if he really wants cotton grease, then great. And then the components needed for both of those in order to scribe them over.
You're looking for a hefty price there, bud.
Alarm and grease is what he said, so...
Yes, just alarm and grease. But
Yeah.
grease is pretty useful sometimes, considering how many melee.
Yeah, but that's 115 gold there
Jesus.
for both of them. Because one is 60.
I thought you meant
and
just for grease.
No, if he just wants grease, that's only 55. But you said
Five.
alarm and grease.
Yeah. Alarm is 60. Grease is
115.
Grease is 55. That's 115, and that's before adding material components.
Do I need to buy the material components since I don't seem to consume them? It's just
No.
pork rind and butter and a bell and silver wire.
So long as you have the gold, I will say you can get the material components, but you will need the gold is the issue.
Okay.
I can help you with this if you need both spells.
I do need a little bit of help. I've only got
How
7.
much? So you can afford one and I can afford the other. Sound
Yeah.
good? I'll get the grease spell, which is the 55 then.
Yes, I was not going to make you pay for the expensive one. Okay, so grease was 60. Puts me at 19 gold.
Grease was 55, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
I paid for the grease spell. You paid for the alarm spell at 60.
Yes, which took me from 79 to 19.
And I paid for the grease spell, so we're good there.
Which then leads to the next question. In what way, shape, or form do I need to collect these materials?
Well, how much does it say you need to spend in order to scribe spells over?
And here comes the hard part.
Spellcasting. So, the spellcasting trait, over in its copying a spell over, does state that I need. Where'd you go? Process takes 2 hours and costs 50 gold per level of the spell. The cost represents material components you expend as you experiment with the spell to master it, as well as the fine inks you record it. However, my wizardly quill feature lets me, for one, shorten the time to 2 minutes per spell level if I use the quill for it, which I will, and I don't need ink.
So you just need to buy the materials.
Yeah, I just need the materials of X amount of cost.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a certain cost per level of spell, and you need to know that price.
Yes, these are both first level, so it's just 50 gold per for total.
Which
But
means
I don't know if my quill would have that since I don't need ink.
no. It would have been halved if you had bought the paper from the man, but you chose not to.
I mean, I can still buy you a couple pieces of paper. I still have money.
I haven't decided on whether or not to buy the paper or not. The quill does say that I don't need ink, and it shortens my times, which is great.
And ink is part of the cost, unfortunately. So that's
Yes.
kind of a DM's discretion there.
Yes, it is. Never had to look at this far before.
I will reduce the cost by 10 gold.
By 10 gold? Alright.
So it would cost you 40 to describe each spell.
Yeah. You said the paper was 8 per?
Yes.
Alright, then I'll buy 2 sheets of paper. Which 8 plus 8 is 16, leaving 3 gold left over. And now that still leaves a matter of getting enough opponents to start practicing.
Yes, well, you have the setup now, so we can work on getting more money later.
We do. That we do. Speaking of which, that reminds me, do you buy things?
I buy just about everything, so long as it's
Okay.
interesting.
Good to know. Would you perchance buy spell scrolls from another person to be sold?
Of course, so long as the spell scrolls interest me.
And in what way, shape, or form would a spell scroll be found interesting?
You have to show it to me, and I have to determine if it's interesting.
Okay, this was simply a matter of for the future. Guys, I do need to get myself a bit of income since most of the party doesn't like paying me.
Paying you for what?
Using Identify.
I give you the pearl to use. Or rather, you...
Yeah, I know you gave me a pearl. I said most of the party.
Kind of a team thing, but whatever, Tauntaun.
I was talking about Edel Sardanes. He has trust issues with me for no real reason, as far as I can tell. Anyways, great to know that. Now, how much would you say it would be to collect other material components for the spells, my dear merchant?
Which material components are you looking for?
Well, for starters, the stuff to finish my scribing over, and then per se a platinum inlaid vial with a pickled tentacle and an eyeball in it.
Now, whatever do you need that for, stranger?
Summonings.
Ah,
Along with a gilded skull.
those would be very pricey. Several hundred gold.
Alright. I'm gonna do a lot of work. I don't think I can busk that much money. For the folks at home, busking is just fucking street performance. So for now, just the stuff for alarm and grease then.
Sounds like a fair deal to me. He takes the money, puts it away, and says, "Thank you."
Okay. That did not answer how much material components were going to be.
He didn't give you a defined price yet. Almost as if he's holding it out. As in, not telling you the price now. Because reasons.
No, I meant for alarm and grease.
Oh. I don't fucking know, man.
It's pretty simple stuff. Actually, do I have a component pouch? Can I just buy a component pouch? How much are component pouches?
You already have a component pouch.
No, actually I don't. I have an arcane focus that I wear around my neck.
Then why do you need the components?
Never hurts to have a pouch.
You can worry about that later.
Okay.
Mainly because he does not seem to sell components.
Okay.
Unless they're high dollar.
Unless they're high dollar, like the $300 gilded skull and the 400, I think. It was either 400 or 4,000. Oh, that reminds me. Do you know how to appraise? Is a pearl considered a gem?
I'm not sure what a pearl is considered, but I can appraise anything.
Awesome.
Though my price may vary compared to others.
This isn't for selling. This is just it's stock cost. I think is the word for this. Tauntaun's gonna pull out his Pearl of Power. How much would you say Pearl itself, without magic, would have been worth?
The pearl itself without magic. Why does that matter? It has magic now.
Yes, it does, but per se for spells such as Identify or something better than Identify that needs a higher cost Pearl.
See, the thing about it is that this pearl, I'll tell you the price of it with magic, because honestly, without magic, well, that doesn't matter much anymore considering it is magical in nature.
That is true.
As for this little nifty that, I have to find the table that I was using in order to be able to say this again. I'd reckon that this could
The merchant just has a table now.
I reckon this could easily be worth 450 gold.
Damn! That's a good Pearl. Thank you, Jubilee.
Anything else?
Not from me.
And what of you, my fiendish little friend?
Unless you want to buy some black liquid.
Depends on what the liquid is.
Cursed.
That doesn't tell me what it is.
Tauntaun's just gonna hold up the vial of cursed black liquid.
You can show it to me, but it still doesn't tell me what it is, where you got it, so on and so forth.
I personally don't remember who got it. I know that he identified it, and you told me what it did, and that's why I put down cursed. I think it was... I wanna say that it had to do with the fucking binding thing. Like, how fucking Jubilee had issue with one thing.
Well, in any case, I'm done shopping for the night, Tauntaun. We better get back.
Alright.
Julie will take a bow and get ready to leave.
Alright.
And I'll be right back.
The undead dungeon where we fought that mimic.
So, I need a perception check from Jubilee, Tauntaun, and George.
Perception?
Perception.
I got 20.
Perception.
I have big... Here, well, I suppose in this case, just big P.
Oh god.
Oh, don't you worry, George. That was the bare minimum, because it's kind of hard to miss what you're about to hear.
Oh.
Oh, we're hearing something?
Yes.
This isn't about seeing each other?
No.
Suddenly Godzilla.
This is about... Welcome to a new map, guys.
Ah, new map!
Oh.
As you all begin hearing what sounds like screaming and begging coming from down the alleyway.
Ah, fuck, we split the party.
Tauntaun just going to immediately put his head in his hands, just like, you're gonna want to go investigate that, aren't you?
Is immediately summoning up their sword, dark steel one, and running towards wherever the screaming is.
You know, it's a shame that Chaos said he had to BRB.
He does have his stuff with him.
Jubilee said in general chat, yes, she wants to go investigate.
Fine!
Move your characters!
Choose your character. Banjo
how
and
did you move?
Kazooie.
Unfortunate. Jubilee will get there. Tauntaun, you have enough time to get to next to her. George, you stay put. I need everyone to roll initiative, please.
Oh boy.
George, as you are sprinting down to investigate what's going on, you hear a very familiar laughter as your eyes befall on this.
I knew it.
Oh,
I
no.
fucking knew it.
And you hear you hear a man go, "Please, I don't know what you want from me," as the creature raises its hand and swipes its claws down at the man, and you watch as immediately the claws dig into the man, and you hear him let out a strangled yell before falling unconscious.
Only unconscious? He's not dead yet?
Not dead yet.
Okay,
And
Fuck.
Is it my turn or Tauntaun?
it is Tauntaun's turn. Because Tauntaun got higher, and I don't know why it didn't actually put you guys in the correct order.
Tauntaun's just going to immediately look at Jubilee and just go, alright, you try and save that poor man. I'm gonna, I guess, try and just fucking distract this fucker? If I die, I die, so be it.
Patterson will just wonder why I never came home.
I may have a child, but I have my last will and testament in order. I have a new.
So what you doing, Tauntaun?
Well, I gotta figure out what fucking spell slots I still have. I've got a fourth, I got a couple first, thirds. I have one third, second. I guess, no, I'm gonna hold on to that third. Actually, hold on. Can I see George?
Yes. You can see his foot. I'll say yes, you can see him.
That's the question.
I'll say you can see him.
Awesome. Okay. Is he within? Fuck, he's not. George, why do you have to be so far away? I have 3 death save failures. Fuck. Get out of here. Thank you. Okay, so in that case, we're going to bonus action expend a first level spell slot. Because seeing as I can see George, I have a better idea than getting myself killed. And summon cat!
You didn't have the ability to summon Cat.
Yeah, I get it once for free, and then I just expend spell level.
I know, I'm just making sure you have spell slots to do it.
Yeah, I had 2 first, I have 2 second, 1 third. Remember, I didn't do a whole lot during combat, because I was just being useless, so I just figured, fuck it, I'll go look at something else. But yeah, usually I save my little one.
I spawned Cat, but I don't know where you want to put it, so you should have control of it.
60 here, right? 160? I think it's 160, or was it 90? Gotta really start remembering my features, but I play too many casters, so my features go all over my brain. Where is... Manifest now. Within 60. Oh! I just realized it sheds dim light. Then... leave my telepathy is 120? Question mark? No, it is 60. Fuck. Okay. How far away? Too far for telepathy. I guess in that case, I'm just gonna shout out at George and just say, go near the cat first! And then hold an action to haste George in case he goes by the cat.
Okay.
Or I don't know if he can. 50 feet away. I mean, I guess if he dashed, he probably could. I want to haste George. It's too far away.
So, Cat is bonus action.
Yes, it is bonus action, unless I can move 30 feet forward and then just move the cat 30 feet closer.
I think technically, yeah.
Okay. 30. 30. I can do almost perfectly run right by it and get hasted. But I am holding my action to haste. Through the cat.
Moves on to George.
Run by the cat, George. The
He's
cat.
going to get by the cat.
Haste. My final third level spell.
Right.
It,
George. As you get
Yeah.
next to the cat, you watch as the creature turns towards you with gleaming red eyes before it lunges its arm at you, and you see that it has a surprisingly long reach to it as it attempts to attack you
Oh god, okay.
with a 26 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And it will deal 23 points of piercing damage to you as its claws gouge into your shoulder and side. And it pulls you closer.
Oh, okay.
What a time to be alive! You came to see the lovely.
you technically aren't alive, you undead piece of shit.
You may continue your turn, though, George.
Alright, I'm hasted, right? Or did he...
Yeah, you're hasted.
Okay. So he's immediately going to hit this thing with his fucking Exploits Curse.
Rattle him, boy. Rattle his bones.
That's a bonus action, yes?
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Summon out that fucking new longsword he has, and he's going to start swinging.
Weapon.
Remember, you can whack one extra time.
That'll hit.
Alright, is he getting the extra damage on it too, or no?
Nope. This thing is not a fiend.
Oh.
If we went over this, it's more likely undead.
Let's see. So. The Hexblade's curse damage is just additional damage. It's not necrotic, correct?
Let me check.
I think curse is just hopeless or just magical in general.
But I know he gets a bonus to his damage. I think it's equal
It's
to
just damage.
Okay, good
Keep
to
in
know.
my proficiency.
Alright. So
Not necrotic.
you slash your sword across it. You take a good chunk out of his chest. However, it continues laughing as if it's taking great pleasure in this pain.
Oh fuck. Okay. Wait, can I have that be that attack be the extra weapon attack? Cause I want to do an extra thing if I could haste.
So you get your standard action, which gives you 2 attacks thanks to your invocation, and you get a separate action that you can do something else with.
Okay, so I want to use a separate action to have George go into his Azamar form.
Okay.
Probably should have done that first. But fuck.
There we go, shiny glowy man.
Alright. So
Yeah,
now you get your second attack from your first action.
All right.
I'll be nice.
Fuck.
As you swing this time, you watch as it raises its claws and the steel slams against it before it begins pushing it away, going. As it moves on to Julie's turn.
Alright. I think what the best course of action is here. Healing from this distance. So, do you think he's thoroughly distracted?
Well, he's currently grappling George, so.
Yeah, we all know how this weirdo gets about George.
Giving hugs.
Still, I don't think I'll chance it. I'm gonna pop right next to the downed person. Like around here, so that way I'm out of the thing's reach.
Okay.
And I can't cast another. So, question:
What?
If I use my mantle of inspiration, would that could I affect the guy who's down because he's not dead?
Temporary HP does not wake up unconscious.
Okay.
But
Figured
doesn't
it out.
for being hurt badly right away fail death save.
No, so long as he remains unconscious, he will still fail 2 death saves. In
Okay.
fact, I don't think unconscious creatures can even get temporary HP. And if they can, they can't in my games.
I was hoping to get him up and get him out of here, but can't use healing word because that's another spell, even though it's a bonus action.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, my rules are if you cast another spell in the same turn, you can do a 2nd level or lower.
Alright, then in that case.
And then there's I's rules, which is just fucking just send it. Treat it like
So,
send it.
I'll just pop him for. That'll be a total of
He's a commerce that
brain. 8 HP for the small guy, for the gentleman.
Alright, he cannot have 8 HP because he has 2 HP to begin with. But
That was the lowest level spell I could do.
his eyes
did it auto die?
His eyes snap open before he looks around, and in a panic, he just quickly scrabbles to his feet and attempts running away.
Perfect. Oh, well. I can't stop.
As he's running away, George's gonna try to yell. What's the name of the inn that we were staying at?
Something Halo. I honestly
Hold
don't
on,
remember.
I got it. I actually wrote this down.
The Radiant Halo.
Thank you.
The Radiant Halo.
Yeah, I don't have my notes on this.
Go to the Radiant
So he's gonna-
Halo for help.
Okay, so it comes to his turn. He will take the dash action. Get the hell out of here.
Fortunately, our enemy's preoccupied at the moment.
Have a talk with Mama's boy.
So. Alright, so. George, I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please.
Oh god.
Jesus Christ.
Wowzers.
Alright, so George, you begin hearing the creature once again chuckle madly as you watch as the shadows twirl around it, and it begins infiltrating your nostrils and your mouth, and you feel like you're beginning to choke as the creature magically teleports away, and you take a lot of damage. Die.
What the fuck? Another die? What?
Yeah. There's that other one I need. You take 32 points of necrotic damage.
Jesus.
Luckily, though, due to the fact that you are an Azamar, that will only be half. Which is 16. However, you do watch as the creature magically teleports away from you, as he seems to still be in hot pursuit of the common. That was his action, so he will use his movement to...
Jesus Christ. I just fixed that.
Tauntaun!
I am in fact here. A Tauntaun is going to do Tauntaun thing. I'm very low on spell slots. Magic missile, 2nd level. I guess fire. Why not? As in fire missile. That's 44? Yeah, 44.
44 plus 1.
Fui fui. I forgot to do
Try
something.
again.
Fui.
The
11.
missile speed forward, causing 4 distinct singe marks to appear on its back. However, it does not dissuade it from continuing to try to attack this man. George.
Hey, I didn't say I was done. I still have a book.
Right?
Oh yeah, you do still have a bonus action. My apologies. Go ahead.
I also have my movement. E. 'Cause I can't cast heal the cat right now. The cat's really just more eyeballs than anything else.
Okay. So anything else?
Bonus action, I suppose I can move. I'll move the cat. Make sure that it's up.
Yeah.
So long as I can put feet on it, I can find it.
Now then, it is your turn, George.
Alright, so George is gonna grab his heavy crossbow, aim at the thing, and say, if you want fucking kill fucking Daddy's boy so badly, then come and get him. Don't worry about him. Fire a shot off.
The bolt speeds forward and slams through it. You see you made a hole deep in its stomach, and it just continues chuckling. However, its eyes stay fixed on this person.
Fire again. Just gonna keep saying I know what you are, and I know who controls you, by the way, too.
Roll persuasion.
You
Actually, roll deception, because I know you don't actually know.
Yeah. Oh my god, these rolls,
You're
dude.
a horrible liar.
I know who's
Who's
What?
my name?
Anything else, George?
He has another shot, doesn't he?
Yes, because you have a 3rd attack you can do with haste. Alright, so you see 3 very large holes now punctured through this creature. However, it's continuing to just chase after this man.
And he's also gonna keep moving forward. Got him so mad. +8 gets a crit fail.
Alright, Jubilee, it's your turn.
Alright, so I'm gonna move up so I can see him again. And well, this is a shot in the dark, but and the image I'm gonna go for this is someone that looks kind of like an older version of George. Looks like you couldn't finish the job, huh?
Okay, so this is specifically not a charm, so it needs to make a intelligence. Alright, so as it reaches its claws up, suddenly its head snaps to the side as you all begin hearing it giggle very maliciously.
I got his attention. So did it save or
No, it failed.
then I get to do damage?
Go ahead, older George. Oh, good.
So,
10 force concentration. Mark it in.
yeah, 6 psychic damage.
Damn.
Okay. Anything else, Jubilee?
Oh.
No, not really.
Right. Moves to Mr. Man's turn.
Run, Mr. Man,
Yeah.
run!
15 attack of opportunity.
He was
As
distracted.
do what?
I thought he was distracted or something.
He is distracted, but that doesn't mean he's so distracted he won't attack the thing he was trying to kill previously.
Okay, it's still bias a full thing. His full
So,
attention's not on the man now.
as the man tries to sprint away, very quickly you all see its hand just lash out without it actually looking at him, and once again, the man hits the ground unconscious. As it moves on to the creature's turn, it will use its action to attack the phantasmal force. Its claws begin raking through it. However, it seems to twitch a little bit more upon its second attack. Jubilee, roll a d6.
Okay. 4.
Wait, hold on. That would mean that the thing isn't an undead, because the spell can't affect undead.
It can affect intelligent creatures. Period.
Yeah, it's your normal zombie, correct, but something like this, it can
I make exceptions for creatures that are actually intelligent.
Ah, okay.
And now it's going to, at the end of its turn, try to save against the spell. At which point, you all watch as it stares down at the thing for a while before reaching over, grabbing one of the barrels, and just slamming it down on top of where the spot was. As it then just slowly looks over, eyes very quickly scouting over everyone, before it slowly locks onto you, Jubilee.
I think I touched a nerve.
I'm coming for you.
Wow, that really
Crazy!
upset you that much?
On top.
Tauntaun
Who ordered Monokuma?
Tauntaun is going to do something that may or may not actually work and further help though, called Mind Sliver. Wrong thing. But it is a intelligence save of DC 14. Why is it DC 14? Oh, shit, save DC.
Right?
What?
It failed.
Wow,
Nailed.
you did it.
Right. In that case, that is...
For the first time ever, it worked.
I thought you said for the first time ever, it's gonna start raining men. Wait, what?
That's the psychic, and now it subtracts 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes before the end of my turn.
It's gonna be handy.
Blow his ass up, Jubilee!
I don't have any. I'm not Beetle Sarte. I don't make things go boom.
Tell that to all of the fucking explosions you guys keep putting in Thorgrim's ears.
I can do something to it.
And then we're just...
No! Take me back.
Well, a distant scream. God damn it!
Hold on, I got kicked out of roll 20. I'm back now.
Yay!
What'd I miss?
Tauntaun moved the cat.
We won.
4 psychic damage from the fucker, and he subtracts a d4 from that
You triggered stage 4. That's nice.
Oh, no.
Alright.
What?
George,
Wait.
it's your turn.
save. We did what?
Alright. George's gonna move forward. He's just gonna take the dash action to get right up to him.
What do you mean the dash action? You're hasting. Your speed's doubled.
Is it just regularly double?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. No,
Whole ass doubled. You have 2 actions. You got doubled speed.
Not whenever you get within 15 feet of him, however. Because he'll pull you the rest of the way.
Oh,
All that it's gonna happen is you'll take a lit. Never mind. It crit
What?
failed. How
Oh,
do you
nice.
want to use your reaction to counterattack?
yes.
Alright.
Smack his head. Smack the
I'm gonna
bitch.
try to take off one of those claws. Did I roll an attack for it, or is it just...
Yeah, you have to roll an attack. But then again, with how high your way to hit is, I'd be very surprised if you don't hit him. Yeah, that hits.
I would laugh if he had gotten a nat 1, and then it was just a string of nat 1s.
Unfortunately, the creature wasn't able to counterattack as it used its reaction to try to attack George as he approached.
Cue
All
the
right.
Benny Hill music.
You may continue approaching now, George. You did not get tackled, and you still have your regular action and your extra action.
Am I able to flank with the cat or no?
No, the cat is not technically real.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
just
it's
gonna
glowing ethereal.
right up to weapons again with his long sword. Just swing on it again. That hit?
Yes.
Alright. And so since he now has less of it, goes just gonna attack on a stagger smite to that.
Okay.
So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
-4.
It rolled a minus a d4. That's right. $16 on its save.
Fucking matches.
Alright, so it passes your spell save DC, unfortunately. It does still take the damage, though. What type of damage is this?
Psychic.
Like, alright. Anything else?
Yeah, this is extra attacks.
Unfortunate. Unfortunately, it cannot counter. It's already used its reaction.
Thank goodness.
However, due to your blunder, you try to swing at it again before it very quickly grabs your sword and says, "I can't play with you right now." As it moves on to Julie.
Right then. Oh, this is distracted. Problem is, the poor gentleman over there needs my attention. So, that is quite the dilemma. So next best thing I can do is this to help out.
As you attempt to cause it to seize up, it just looks to you and tilts its head to the side and goes, "Do you honestly think that will work on something suffering from rigor mortis?"
Oh,
Yeah, it was worth a shot. Crap. Well,
Wait,
if
hold
you
on.
really want some, come get some then, you ugly bastard.
I plan to. Anything else, Jubilee?
I wish I did Vicious Mockery now, but oh well. Problem is the guy's way too far away. I can't feel him from here.
You can always
So-
walk forward to me.
I think I'm still too far away though. No, he's just within range. So I'll move 30 feet and well, I'm out of first levels, but I have this at a second level, I guess. I'm running out of spell slots now. I think no matter what, he's gonna get up though, right? Doesn't matter whatever. Lower the
And-
minimum.
As the spell goes off, his eyes snap open, and you hear him
Head to the
talk.
Radiant Halo now!
He has to use half of his movement to stand, and he gets off the map and begins running down the public road. moves on to Critter's turn. Critter is going to begin laughing. George, make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay, not again.
I'm gonna be feeling this some bit.
All right. As it once again, the shadows whirl around it as it disappears from your view, George, and you take 36 points of necrotic damage.
Oh. That's half, right?
Yes,
Okay, I'm not looking too good.
due to your Azamar goodness, as it moves on to Tauntaun's turn.
We are going to roll out the thing. Is this still ongoing?
Where's a miracle, Hubert? We need E1.
Where does the
According to the D100, it's not near you.
we are going to. Oh, my second level. It's marked. Any of those. I suppose more magic missile. We'll go with first level. Beat out a. No, I don't want to cast Chromatic Core because I'm prepared. It's not letting me do that. Eat out some, why not? Acid.
Magic missile.
Acid. Acid missile.
Magic ass missile.
Alright. You see that the acid is beginning to eat away at it. However, it continues standing as it currently has its eyes locked on Jubilee. George, your turn.
Alright.
Stop
George.
within, if you're approaching it again, stop within 15 feet of it.
No, he's not, but he is going to do something different, which hopefully will go well, but he doesn't know. He's going to take a risk.
Gonna risk it for the biscuit.
It's my biscuit on the line right now.
Alright, so George is going to simply kneel down. He's fucking tired. He's done with this shit. He's gonna put a small sigil on the ground. He's going to say a small incantation as he is now casting Summon Greater Demon.
What now?
What?
Oh no. I have to get Xanathar's guy. No. Yes. Summon Greater Demons. Because
I'm starting to think Dad wasn't a human.
Oh, okay.
No, Summon Greater Demon is a,
It's an action.
No, I know that. I mean, it's a Warlock spell. It's one commonly taken by Warlocks.
Yep.
Fucking Liz had it, Chaos!
Yeah, but usually,
And then spammed it 4
the
times.
Celestial Warlock doesn't usually take that one.
Hey.
How that one that became a god?
Since I do not have a proper token situated currently, we're going to have to theater of the mind this as a shadow demon.
That's why some of the Shadow Demon.
A greater shadow demon?
Not a greater shadow demon, just a shadow demon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Greater's a little bit out of his punch range right now.
Oh, you get to choose the demon type. Never mind. Do you know a demon with a challenge rating of 5 or lower off the top of your head, George?
Balgura.
Demon monkey!
Why not the Armanites? They're just demon centaurs.
Because critical roll. That's why.
Demon monkey. I love demon monkeys.
All right.
He's
All
He's going to
right.
summon
rock.
it right here next to Jubilee.
Okay. Oh. Hi.
I'm now just remembering that stupid Godzilla King Kong sketch.
I do not have a token prepared for this.
Save
so...
me. Why?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know the one.
So this is gonna be our.
Oh, hello.
That's where you were summoning it, correct, George?
Yep.
Right. So the unfortunate issue with this is at the end of its turn, I need you to roll initiative for the demon. You get a d20 plus 2.
You know, I think I know what the
Get
thing is
its
with
own
this whole
initiative.
charisma saving throw and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna go feral if it fails.
It's not gonna go
Oh, no.
feral. It's just going to start attacking everything.
That's what I meant by going feral.
Alright, and it...
Oh my god. Are
These
you
rolls.
fucking kidding me?
Alright, Jubilee,
Monkey is confused.
it is tied with you. Roll a d4 for me real quick, Jubilee. We'll see if you are monkey or faster. Monkey is faster.
Monkey.
Monkey.
Return to
I'll
monkey.
say I'm failed safe continues to obey me, I guess.
Let's see. At the end of its turn, this is a disadvantage on the saving throw if you know its true name. You do not. On a failed save, it continues to obey you. On a successful save,
Oh god.
Please do not start reenacting King Kong.
the demon spends its turn pursuing and attacking the nearest non-demons.
Wait, I've got demon heritage.
Hey.
You have devilish heritage.
Fuck.
If you stop concentrating on the spell before it reaches the full duration, and an uncontrolled demon doesn't disappear for D6 round, you get its present points. This part. He didn't do that part. George, roll 8d10 plus 24.
Monkey.
Monkey.
Right.
That's just the name of this episode now. It's just Monkey.
Alright.
That's not good.
58 HP it has. Alright, so that's your action. Anything else, George?
He's gonna fly 60 feet into the air so that he hopefully can't get hit.
You do need to use your bonus action to order it what to do.
Okay.
Only
As
6.
a bonus action, he's going to command it to kill the creature. Kill that creature.
Right. So, before it gets the chance to do anything, it's going to use its reckless trait to give it advantage on all 3 of its attacks. So, 20 to hit first. 6 damage with its bite. Good job there, guy. Good job there, buddy. Your attacks are not considered magical, which is good to know. And nat 20 on its second attack,
Paunch.
and nat 20 on its third attack as well.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
jeez. There's no
Monkey
bite.
do monkey thing.
There's no bite, you
Monkey.
don't need punch.
Okay, if it's gonna react King Kong by protecting the pretty lady, then I'm all for it right now.
13 plus 20, so 33 plus an additional 8 on top of that, so 41 total damage. Jubilee, you watch as this thing lets out a monstrous roar before it almost quite literally rips the arm off that Jord had hit previously, and you just watch as it just begins slamming fist after fist into the creature, and quite literally tears it to pieces. And you watch it as it slowly turns to shadows as this creature just quite literally pounds it into the dust.
Unga bunga smash.
I don't know if I'm in danger or not now.
Let's find out.
You might be.
It rolled a 7 on its charisma save, so it's still obeying George for the time being. However, I don't think George can make the demon go away until the duration is up.
By the way it's worded, it does say if concentration ends and the demon isn't controlled, it doesn't disappear. It's
So
still
as long as it's in control.
As long as I think control, I can desummon it at any time.
If you stop concentration on the spell before it reaches full duration, an uncontrolled demon doesn't disappear if it still has hit points.
But it is
Uncontrolled.
controlled.
But it's
Yeah.
controlled right now.
Yes, but the thing.
Uncontrolled.
Yes, but the problem. Oh, yeah, I'll allow it since it's still under your control. If you break concentration, that goes away.
All right, buddy, take 5.
Yeah, he's gonna, after seeing it completely destroy this thing, he's gonna burn his concentration and desummon it.
All right, go home, buddy.
Farewell, Dnd Session. You did well.
Head gets
The
cold.
whole fucking
Fair.
rat spell out. It's very risky.
Farewell, Danky King.
Dinky King.
Okay. That was utterly terrifying. Thank you for saving my life, George.
What was that?
And also, what the hell is that thing?
Oh my god. Very tired. Spell I've been wanting for a while now. Just haven't really wanted to risk doing it until now.
See why? Still, you saved my life, so thank you. Also, I think I figured out what gets under that thing's skin now.
Citizen, are you okay?
Yes, we're alive. We're okay.
George
We
looks
can't-
worse for wear. We're okay.
We came as soon as we realized there was trouble.
We're just gonna kind of
Can I insight
take.
that?
Well, to say George also kind of wants to insight that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can the cat help me insight that?
Sure. The cat's
Ah.
not.
I mean, you guys were already doing what I was thinking, so I don't know if you want one for me too at that point.
Yeah,
Where
whatever.
is-
You can
so-
roll it if you want to.
I forgot I was proficient in insight for some
I
fucking.
don't know. I just personally found it suspicious. Well, 13, 14, 15, 16.
They are telling the truth. They are absolutely
Okay.
telling the truth.
This is like, huh, that's convenient.
Do you require medical attention?
Yes.
I'm okay. He does, though, pointing at George.
Come take my hand.
He'll grab onto his hand.
You regain. It's not much, but it's something. 8 points of HP. Unfortunately, it rolled pretty badly to try and help you.
He'll also lay hands on himself and give himself another 8 HP.
Okay. I think
Are
we
you
should
in
get
need-
back.
Are you in need of further assistance?
No, but you really should send someone to investigate the debris, pointing at the dust that's left.
Speaking of which, as Tauntaun passed whatever the fuck was left of the undead man, can you just try and nick some?
There's nothing left salvageable. It's just dust.
No dust.
It's just dust. It's not useful.
You say that, but I've eaten weirder shit. Can I just eat some of the dust?
Yes.
No!
Yes, you can eat the dust, and you find that it's dust.
Yep,
There's-
that's dust.
Do you require an escort?
I think we'll be okay.
Does she speak for all of you?
I
No.
needed to head to whoever. Do I know where that would be at?
What?
The place for the victims? Talk about who.
Apart from the morgue within the city, no, you don't know where else they would be.
Well, we the one survivor headed to Radi Halo, hopefully, so we might have to talk to him.
However, due to the whole detour here to save that man, you know that the morgue would be closed at this hour.
Yeah, say. Yeah, I'll probably need an escort.
Very well. However, we must wait for other redeemed to come. We sense the presence of a demon.
It's gone.
Are you
Yeah, we-
certain? Is
Yes.
it what
Take care of that
attacked?
too.
I'm certain it was gone. It's gone.
But is it what attacked you?
No. As a matter of fact, I'd say it more or less helped us.
Strange. Demons are not particularly helpful.
Well,
They
it depends
are
on
when
how
they
you manage to control.
really hate something.
I guess we were just really lucky tonight.
Very well. We will escort you to wherever your destination is.
Very well. Let's go, guys. We definitely need to update Edelsarday and Thorgrim.
And after a very short trek back, you all, with new batters and bruises, get to re-enter the tavern.
Except for Tauntaun, he's not hurt at all.
Yeah, well, technically, I don't think Jubilee got hit either.
No, but I was damaged from the previous dungeon still.
So like me just getting smacked.
Thorgrim's eyes will scan over each member of the group. Like, oh, there's Tauntaun. Oh, there's Jubilee. What happened to Angel Boy? Holy shit!
It looks like he got hit by a fucking cart.
So
Jubilee is like heavy breathing, just like.
What the fuck happened?
yes, you look like you've been in a
He
fight.
showed up again.
What? Who did?
The puppeteer?
Boney.
Oh,
Oh, long clawed fucker.
Yeah, and I think I got his attention.
well, at least you managed to get out of that situation alive.
Yeah, jeez. Wish we
Yeah,
were
George
close enough to hear.
actually saved my life in that encounter. So.
Really? Good on you,
Good for you,
George.
George. Appreciate it.
Wait, what happened?
You
For
saved
being
my life.
congratulated.
Oh, you're welcome.
Did he say anything pertinent?
Huh?
Not really, but he did seem a little upset when I presented him with a certain image, and I all of a sudden had all of his attention.
And that image was?
Older version of him, pointing at George. AKA trying to make an image of his dad.
Do you think that trick will work again?
I doubt it, but it's interesting that that's what got a reaction out of him.
Well, look at it from his point of view. If you enjoy killing and one of your people that you enjoy killing the most just shows up again.
I believe it might be like that, and then also for some reason I was something get attempted to kill, but I had more or less only a line of sight on it, what it wanted to kill initially.
Yeah, at that point, when I presented him that image and upset him, he actually even ignored George for a little bit.
So
Maybe
wait,
because...
it wasn't trying to kill you at first?
I was trying to kill someone else, and then once we got the guy to run, he went after the guy rather than me.
Wait, did someone not show up and tell you?
No.
No. I was about to go upstairs for a nap, but
Why did you send this person our way?
We told him to come to the arena, Halo, and warn everyone.
Well, if
Do
you
you
are...
really think he'd go somewhere the people that are trying to save him would tell him to go to when he doesn't know us?
That's and he is scared for his life, so... It's
But
more likely
it's a
he
no-
went
well, it's a
somewhere safe.
well-known place, and it's like saying, "Hey, there's safety here."
Do
Go.
you know it's as well known?
yeah? What is it?
Yeah.
If the bad guy heard you, he probably didn't run here because this is where he would have checked.
That's a
Good
good
idea,
point.
Keith.
That's
Good
true.
idea.
We did actually yell out the location.
Very
I
smart.
didn't think of that.
Good on you, Ricky.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Ricky. I guess I was so caught up in trying to save the guy, I didn't think about that.
Oh well, at least you saved him, and that's what matters, right?
Yes, but now there's another living victim of that bony bastard.
Who will
Well-
probably be his target going forward.
Speaking of which, you said the killings were random, right?
That's what
No.
I've been told, yes.
There's absolutely no correlation between the victims.
The only correlation that I am aware of is between George and his father.
Well, I mean, that one's obvious. But maybe there is something, but It's
You know-
something that only Bony Guy knows.
You know what else is strange too? Now that I think about it, George, the redeemed, it's the redeemed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should be able to detect undead, right?
I believe so.
They did
So
say.
why did they Why'd they only get alerted by the presence of the other thing?
If you remember it, they said we sense a demon as well.
Okay, no, you're right. Never mind. I misremembered it. I remembered it as we sensed a demon.
What's kind of scaring me is that if it took them that long to come, and we were able to hear the noises, they get that much faster than they were, and they're able to fly. We also had to go through a full fight with that thing, and they show up right after. I don't know if they can actually sense him.
That
does sound suspicious.
It's very convenient that they'd show up directly after the fight and not during.
But, however, like I said, it could be the fact that they could only sense him, the demon that they brought forward, and not him.
Oh, so we're actually going to talk about that. Okay.
Wait. What?
You can summon a monkey,
A monkey.
A demon.
a very
not-
big one.
Summon a fucking demon.
It's a demon, not a
Know
monkey.
specifically what demon that was?
Do I know?
Barl
But
girl.
you named it. You called it by name, so I will let George know.
So Tauntaun. Oh,
Tauntaun, you need to roll history.
Or you
history?
can just ask.
Not Arcana?
No.
Same modifier anyways. 16?
You have a vague idea what it is.
Yes, I can, in fact, summon different types of demons that I know about and feel as if I can actually control.
Interesting.
Is that because of your training?
It's more of a personal training.
And is that illegal here?
No, I don't believe so. The demon might be a problem, but as long as if it's dispatched, without much problem, it shouldn't be much of a big deal. If I can keep it under control, or at least get rid of it if it does end up getting out of my control, then yeah.
So wait. There's a risk that you could summon a demon and it can go out of control, and we would have a whole different problem on our hands? Yeah, no thanks.
Well, the demon, even if it's uncontrolled, doesn't last very long.
Jubilee looks a shade paler at that thought.
If someone manages to break out of my control, then I have ways of making it to where I can't harm people that are around it at the time, and that it won't last too long. For example, if I were to have the blood of someone who was killed within the past 24 hours, I can make a circle and it wouldn't be able to pass through that or do anything past that.
This is getting more and more morbid by the second, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I think a few of us need some rest right now because I don't know about you, but I'm a little on edge.
Understandable. You should get some rest.
Make sure to keep it in mind though that with that thing that we just fought, I guess the redeemed either can't track it or they're choosing not to.
Most likely it's the case that whoever is creating them has put a purposeful blind spot in their programming, so to speak.
Let's not discount anything just yet then.
It could have also just taken them a while to get there.
That's also a possibility.
Just
While they can fly, they can't fly much faster than we can walk.
That's true, but there is a lot of them.
Not only that, our battle did actually take a little while, so.
Even a wall has
Not
some
really, it
holes.
was like 3 rounds.
just feels weird to me that they always show up right after the battle ends instead of actually showing up to aid us. I don't think their lack of speed is the only determining factor, but I mean,
A
could
sad peek behind the DM curtain. It is in fact just dice fucking you over.
We're on the completely wrong path.
because I rolled a d6 to see how quickly redeemed would be there with the number counting rounds, and it was literally 5 rounds, and you beat it in 4. So
it's just
What-
a lot of coincidences when it comes to the redeemed helping us.
like that was whenever you all rolled insight and I said the redeemed are being 100% truthful, that was me trying not to show behind the DM screen, but that's failing to work. So God needs to split the ceiling and say, no, it's my bad, I'm sorry.
I
The fuck was that?
This is actually a common occurrence with my other group. We have a common occurrence in that group of missed it by 1. Saving throws, missed
Yep,
by
that's a
1.
common D&D
Attack
trope
rolls,
there.
missed by 1. So yeah, stupid dice rolls.
In a different D&D group, we call it, hey, found the AC.
Well, either way, you're gonna have to sleep, talk to the guard, and they're going to try to keep track of if any suspicious people that may come in and return to the city after the cleaning.
All right.
And I guess tomorrow we can go to the morgue to try to look at the victims since they're probably closed.
Actually,
And we
hold
can also
on.
check in with Hubert with any details he figures out.
Hold on. You said that someone was attacked by the creature, yes?
Yes.
And
We managed to heal him and he did get away.
where do they live? Because I have a feeling that they're going to be the...
Sorry, it was a random person, so we don't know.
Then we need to
He
find
ran
out.
off while we were in the middle of a
I
battle.
think we can remember. I think I can remember where approximately the building was.
Then we need to find out because he is probably going to be the next victim.
He almost was the victim, dude. Look,
However,
it has been a long day, Elisor Day. I literally have no spells anymore.
Then
And I'm
go
pretty
to
low on
sleep
them.
and we will do it tomorrow.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if Hubert comes back before we awake, give us an update in the morning.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
let
all
you know.
angered out. I'm gonna have to pass
And
out.
with that,
soon.
Jubilee heads to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow.
one thing that that sort of kind of just passes by as he's heading to bed. One thing that I thought was weird is that it, for some reason, didn't seem like it wasn't outright trying to kill him. Like he first arrived, he was knocked out, and the second time he just got knocked out.
Most likely he would have killed him were you not there.
I don't remember where my room was. Shit, but let's go with this.
I think it was this one.
Okay, I think so too. I'm not sure.
I was just gonna
Begin his 4 minutes of scribing. Because Quill go bird.
go up to the innkeeper and ask for a room, 'cause I don't think he asked for one before.
Alright. He charges you 5 gold.
Wait, hold on. This is our second day here, right?
Yes.
Tauntaun didn't pay. You didn't pay for your room, Tauntaun.
We each paid for a week.
No,
I kind of remember we all kind of took turns doing that.
I don't.
Yeah, you literally paid for a week for all of us.
No, I
The only
paid
person
for
who
a
didn't
day.
pay was me because I got a room with someone.
I paid for a day for all of you. I told you to get more afterwards. Thorgrim paid for a week. I paid for a week for mine.
The room is covered.
Hmm?
The room is covered.
Poe Masters, the beautiful bastard.
Handy.
I'm sure that.
Although
it was,
top
sure.
find streets.
Alright. Wait, where's Ricky gonna sleep?
With you.
Okay.
Didn't she normally bunk with Thorgrim?
Oh yeah, she
No.
did.
She's totally allowed to if she wants to.
That's
we
what
will
she
do
slept
whatever
before.
Adelsarday tells.
She'll just tell her to sleep in her room.
I need some extra comfort tonight.
You're the one that needs comfort. Poe Masters ain't nowhere to be seen. Hey, where is Poe Masters?
Excellent question.
Must be busy, I guess.
As he suddenly appears in the bed.
What the fuck?
Surprise!
Didn't miss me
Oh,
too
hello.
much, I hope.
Mate, ever since the performance earlier, it was Because remember, this has all been one full day. Ever since the performance earlier, it's been a busy day.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, a little too much excitement today, I think.
One can never have too much excitement. That is, of course, not true, but I am trying to resist.
Can Tanta knock on their door
I
after
don't
4
care what
minutes?
you do.
Cool. Tanta gonna come knock on the door.
Who is it?
The other bastard in the group.
I don't believe... Whenever you say the other bastard, are you referring to Hubert as the first one, or...
I think Hubert's the first bastard.
Hubert does not know who his parents are, so
Well, I suppose that would, by all definition, make him the other bastard. But no, I am referring to you, Poemasters.
Well, how can I assist you?
Could I borrow some incense and herbs?
you see the door open despite the fact that Jubilee and Poemasters are still laying in the bed. And goes,
I suppose so.
Let's be real. I'm fairly certain Ponton and Jubilee have fucked, like, other people together! Like, twice so far?
That's not the issue. That's not an issue right now. It's just kind of a. How's it going, Tauntaun?
So,
I suppose you can, but I don't know how much more I have to spare is the only problem.
as he says this, you see Mage Hands currently rummaging through his backpack on the table. Eventually,
I'm hoping he doesn't die as fast this time around. Or she, depends who I manage to pull.
What do you mean?
I think Patterson got broken again.
Wait, no, not Patterson. My familiar.
Oh yeah, that's right. Your cat.
I don't really aim for a specific thing, I just kind of do it at random.
eventually you are given the stuff in question.
Thank you very much, Poemasters.
You're very welcome.
Also, if you're not Jubilee up, do make sure to take charge of the kid.
Tauntaun.
Tanta's going to immediately slip away and giggle.
Jubilee just kind of smirks and rolls her eyes.
The joke is on your friend. I know magic that makes me sterile.
Aw, no little Poemaster bastard?
There cannot be two masters in this world, after all.
But Poemaster bastard!
Before going to sleep, I'm locking my door. Fuck this nonsense.
I'm locking my door.
Adelsar Day, you begin to awaken.
Adel will rise, freshen up, and oh.
As you do, you see Hubert currently sitting in a chair, reading a book.
She blinks a few times. You know, it's been a while since you decided to wait in my room before I woke up.
Anton unfortunately did something to the door, and I was not about to go into it.
Okay. Then
I do not know what he did. I just know he did something.
She heads off the bed and stretches. So,
Well, now I know how to Hubert out of the room.
you seem well. Did you find anything?
Nothing of particular use, unfortunately.
Damn. All right.
Weapons were simply taken to an armory, and upon breaking into the armory, I found that it's pretty standard weaponry. There's nothing particularly impressive about anything in there.
What, and nobody came back to take them?
They said it was transported to an armory, my lady.
No, as in from the armory.
No, they took it to the armory and put it back on what I presume to be its rack.
They didn't hand them over to the wife?
My lady,
what were they?
if he is part of the military, and the military are given weapons, it is not... The soldiers do not own their weaponry.
Right. Whatever. At least you came out of that okay. and she will head along, but then stops and looks over to Ricky.
He's currently snoozing.
Ada won't disturb her and just head out.
Okay. As you do, you see Guruk sitting at what you have said to be your
Whoops.
table currently.
I didn't notice him there first. Otherwise I was sat somewhere else.
He's currently eating breakfast. Hubert does not follow you as he stays with Riki, following the order of making sure she stays safe.
Hello there.
Good morning to you.
Looks like we're the early risers.
Early birds get the worm and all that. Please, have a seat. I won't be here much longer.
Ada will take a seat.
He takes a bite from his meal before asking, "Can I get you a plate?"
Sure.
He waves the barkeep down. You're served a breakfast of what appears to be eggs and sausage. And he goes, "Now, I have a inquiry, if you don't mind me asking.
Very well.
How did you manage to get a kobold to follow you? They're savage creatures that live in the wilds. It's very interesting."
Adel frowned for a moment. I thought you already discussed this with Thorgrim.
I did, but not everybody's story, well, personal experience, I guess I should say, is the same. I want to know if you have the same feelings that he does towards him.
I'm unsure about his exact feelings. I wasn't fully listening in on the conversation, but I do know that I feel that she is a victim.
Now, how did you come across her, if I may ask?
I'm unsure how much I can tell you about that,
Why is that, if you don't mind me asking?
because I don't know who you are.
Oh, I introduced myself as Guruk.
No. I know who your name and your occupation, that you're an entrepreneur. And whatever, how do you pronounce that word?
Entrepreneur.
Thank you. Entrepreneur. I think I mispronounced it. Whatever. That you're that, and that your name is what you are. But I do not know who you are. I don't know who you are with. I don't know what you do outside of the city.
I assure you, I don't really have anybody who's with me. People follow me. I'm the boss of my little organization, after all. Though, I may have a way to loosen your tongue, if you will allow me to try and do so.
Sorry, this is out of character. I know who this is now.
Do you?
I do. This is so scary.
Are you sure you?
Yes. And I'm fucking terrified, man.
You should start playing the Italian mafia music.
If you would be so kind as to regale me the tale that you remember. He reaches down and tosses a bag onto the table. I'll reward you with this.
Oh, come on.
What is it?
Do you look in the bag?
Yes.
It is 60 gold pieces.
Why are you so interested?
I just like hearing the stories of adventurers, especially adventurers that go into the wilds.
Okay, I'm rolling an insight here. Insight, come on. Fuck.
Seems to be telling the truth. You see, I actually used to be part of a tribe that wandered the wilds. More barbaric back in my young days, but I quickly grew out of that.
And became an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I stumbled across a very wise, worldly man who enlightened me to the world outside of the wilds. And then, as I began my expansion of my business, I found that entrepreneury was in my blood.
And who was this friend, if I may ask?
I called him Master Oswald.
You called him that?
Yes, because that was his name.
Strange
And
way of phrasing it, but
he of course trained me in certain aspects of my physical prowess.
interesting.
Now, enough about me. Do you agree to my deal?
She shuts her eyes and is thinking slowly. I will on one condition.
What might that be?
What? Tell me what you think about Zardak.
Zardak. He taps his chin a bit before snapping his fingers and goes, "Ah, I remember who that is. Doesn't he run a city somewhere in the east, I believe?"
Yes, he does. What do you think about him and his operation?
Well, I'm afraid to say that I don't know too much about him. I try to keep to myself, after all.
Very well. I won't tell you what I can, but just know I can't tell you the full story. Is that okay with you?
He motioned you to do so.
Well, we came across her and the people who were with her. It was very clear that she was in dire straits. My companions attempted to solve this moral quandary while I was hoping we could come up with a more peaceful solution. Things did not turn out very well. In the end, we were left standing, and she refused to move on out of fear of what would be done to her. As to how I was able to get her to follow me, it was taking an authoritative tone but acting with kindness.
Acting with kindness?
Yes.
How does one take an authoritative tone and act with kindness, if I may?
To take an authoritative tone is something that most people in her situation are used to. You give them commands, you expect them to obey, things along those lines. That is an authoritative tone. But acting with kindness is not abusing your authority. You do not use your authority to make them lesser thans. You do not use your authority to put them in danger, to hurt them, to make them unhealthy or anything similar to that. Use your authority to help make their lives better in any way that you can.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate you regaling the story to me. And as I said, you can keep the gold.
Right.
Now, and he locks his fingers together, I have to ask, why did you ask me about Zardak, did you say it was?
Yes. I needed to know more. I needed to know more about him. You being a traveling entrepreneur, I had a feeling you would have at least met him once or twice.
From what I know about him, he doesn't just meet with anybody. They have to get his attention, and I don't know if I've ever gotten his attention.
That surprises me. I figured that an entrepreneur would be right up his alley.
See, the thing is that Zardek, I think, doesn't want to waste time with anyone unless they interfere with his business.
Have you heard tale of anyone doing that?
Yes, I've heard tale of people stealing from him, stealing his products.
And how did that go?
Well, some of them got away. Some of them got hunted. But I don't know the full details of that. But I do know that he is relentless to get back the property stolen from him.
I see.
Now, I don't know if I've gotten your name yet.
My name is Lady Adel Sarday.
Lady?
Yes.
Are you royalty, or merely a noble?
Where I come from, I am royalty.
Then I will show you respect, Lady Adelsarday.
There's no need.
No. A true entrepreneur shows respect when it is worthy.
Very well then.
He will finish his meal before wiping his mouth and sets the cloth down on the table before standing.
Well, I think I have some business I have to attend to. I'm sure I'll see you later tonight, Lady Adelsarday. I hope you have a very pleasant day, after all.
You too.
And with that, he makes his way out.
Oh, God. He's fucking terrible.
There's the symbol.
And Hubert and Riki eventually join you.
You know what's scary? The
What?
symbol that's staring me in the face right now.
What symbol? I don't see a symbol.
I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, so I won't say anything.
I also don't know what symbol you're talking about.
I'll just type in the Discord to you.
Alright, so I think it was Thorgrim who wakes up next. No, it was George.
Ian.
George wakes up next. George,
I was one of the last ones.
yeah. George, you wake up. What you doing?
He's going to bed and rub his eyes after all that shit yesterday. He's gonna ponder to himself about something he might want to look into for his own. How useful that spell was just last time. So he's just gonna head out. And start heading down.
Okay. You see Adel Sarday, Hubert, and Riki sitting at the table.
Alright. He's gonna head over to the table next to him, pull up a chair and sit down.
Hello there.
Morning.
You feeling any better?
Yeah, a bit better. I have now another project I'd like to work on.
And that project is?
About the thing I brought forward yesterday.
Remind me exactly.
The demon.
Ah, that.
Yeah.
I see.
What is it? That. What is that all to you?
No, not at all.
What, does it ring any bells or something, Hubert?
I guess I can see how it's a bit strange being that I'm half angel and all summoning a demon, so.
Oh, right. And she pulls out the holy water. Almost forgot. We need to test you with this.
Okay.
She hands it to you. Just dip your finger in it.
Okay.
gift him forbidden love.
Well,
You dip your finger in it. Nothing happens.
nothing.
What the fuck?
Adel now looks very confused. I do not
We just have an
understand.
invisible companion?
Azazel said that two of us were vulnerable to holy water.
As he stands, kind of handing it back, I'm pretty sure if I was somehow able to be affected by holy water, my time in the city would be greatly limited.
But we tested everyone. Only one of us was weak to it.
I guess it could depend if someone has some type of transformation of some sort that could change it.
Maybe.
I doubt that it'd be different if I were to add on a little bit of celestial energy and try it, but I doubt it.
Maybe.
Well, might as well say try it, fuck it. He's gonna grab the holy water again and try to channel a little bit of celestial energy to himself and then dip his finger in it.
Nothing happens.
Same thing.
Strange. She'll take it back. Oh yeah, use one hit dice to feed Zuriel before I forget.
Nom 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 nom.
Project that I want to work on when I actually have time is to somehow make it to where I can have something like that permanently in my control.
A demon.
Mm-hmm.
Permanently under your control.
Or at least able to summon it without fear of it potentially losing control of it.
The only way,
Need its name for that.
yes, either that or you somehow convince it to be a willing follower to you, which I don't know how you do that.
It's its
It will
name.
probably be its name and then potentially another patron. Or be like having another patron that I can summon.
The unfortunate thing about demons is they are not very agreeable, so unless you have something to use against them, they will not willingly follow you.
Yes, something it wants or something it's afraid of.
Or something that forces it to abide by your rules.
He's gonna snap his finger at the rope.
The rope? The rope doesn't allow people to follow you. It simply stops you from speaking, right? And she looks to Ricky.
She looks back at you. You never experimented to see how it stops you from talking.
That's a good point. Hold on. And she takes the rope out and wraps it around her own neck and then tries to say something.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
God, she's just choked out by a rope. Tauntaun isn't there to see it.
All right.
There you go.
So, luckily, you rolled really high. Unluckily, you begin feeling the rope tighten around your throat.
Okay, off it goes. Elle just takes it off and rubs her neck. That was uncomfortable.
Perhaps next time we try that on me, yes?
No.
That was not me asking kindly, Lady Adelsunday.
Yes.
Oh my.
And this... Yes, and my response was not me taking your request into consideration.
Then I will be forced to make sure you do not do that again, as I am honor bound to protect you.
Oh
even
no.
if it means-
Don't worry, I am never going to tie that around my neck again. I really should have just tightened it around my wrist.
This means for anything, Lady Adelsunday.
Are you going to assault me if I tie a tie around my neck?
If it can be used against you and harm you, perhaps.
That goes for anything that I'm wearing around my neck. And she just tugs at her cape, like this.
Paradox.
I have told you numerous times not to wear that.
Yes, but it adds to the image.
He just gives you a small smile.
Wow,
smiles back.
Tauntaun's really rubbing off on her.
Either way, I don't think this rope is going to be of any use I wouldn't be surprised if a demon wouldn't care if it got its throat crushed. Or if this would even affect a demon.
Especially with what I summoned, it probably wouldn't be much of an issue.
What? The rope wouldn't be the neck crushing wouldn't be an issue for it?
It's well, think about a giant ape. Or I guess a large ape.
How large are we talking?
Similar size to the serial killing creature.
Oh, yes, I don't think the rope would be of any use there.
If anything, I might try consulting somebody who might be more well versed in that.
Yes.
Anyway, I need someone who knows how to speak with dead so we can go look into the most recent victims.
Hubert?
Yes, my lady.
Do you know that ability?
I have no means of speaking to the dead.
I would have that ability, but it'll take a long rest for me to be able to use it.
I personally do not see the need to.
Speak with the dead?
Correct.
Why not?
It is simply something that I've seen no purpose in.
Oh, generally, not in this situation. Okay.
Correct.
Jubilee, at this point, you wake up.
Jubilee will look around and probably see Bowmaster still sleeping.
Yeah, Masters is still currently snoozing.
Alright, then she'll take that opportunity then to check on the doll she bought yesterday.
As you do, you notice that it isn't in your pouch.
Oh my god.
And you then begin hearing a ringing coming from the table. Look over, and you see the doll currently shaking a miniature bell to get your attention.
I'll get up and walk over. Well, hello there.
Hello, I'm your hype man.
Oh my god.
The
What?
fuck?
You have a hype man.
I just wanted you to know that you're going to have an amazing day today. You can do
Aw.
anything you put your mind to.
Oh, well, thank you. And she'll reach out and pet him lightly.
Roll a d10.
Oh no, you squished him.
You gain a d10 inspiration that you can use for the rest of the day.
Wow.
Wow.
And it stays with you until you use it or you get inspiration from somewhere else.
I got my own pocket inspiration for myself now.
And after it wishes you the best day ever, it then flops back down into being a normal doll.
Oh, I was hoping that would stay alive more and just give some commentary.
The doll in my inventory is now called Inspiration Doll.
No, it's called the Hype Man. That is its actual title.
I fucking love that.
No,
That's
this is
amazing.
an item that me and my friend have created.
Tell your friend
Good.
that they're great.
Hold on. I'm the one who came up with the name, thank you.
Okay, you're great.
Both are collectively great.
Enough. And at this point, Thorgrim, you begin waking up.
I'm really tired. Get
Roll a
up.
perception check. You begin hearing a muttering.
The fuck?
Somewhere in
Mutter.
your room.
Muttering.
Sounds like a very muffled voice.
I'm gonna check any drawers or.
Sounds like it's coming from your backpack.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Just opens backpack, skull. Hello, I am Patterson. Ah!
I'm going to go to my backpack and kind of just like half asleep, bleary-eyed, reach in,
Okay.
pick out whatever it is.
Rummage around for a bit, and you pull out the gas mask that Pain has given you.
Okay. Hello?
You get no reply.
Has the muttering stopped?
No.
Okay. I'm going to look in the backpack.
There's
Hello?
nothing. Once again, you get no reply.
Reach it again.
You know full well that it's coming from the plague doctor gas mask.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, I guess, slip it on.
Okay. As you slip it on, you begin hearing the words actually in your ears. However, it's the tail end of the conversation, and you hear a very familiar voice. Gotta check my notes to make sure I get the name right, because I don't want to get the name wrong, because then I'd feel good.
It's happening.
It'd just be a great big phony. I can't find my fucking notes anywhere.
You're a phony.
It's buying me time to name all of my familiars after just random mythological stories that I like.
There we
Is it
go.
any of the characters I named, or is it a character you named?
I named. It
Okay.
sounds like Gretchen Strongarm's voice and
Oh.
and Kane's voice, and like I said, it's the very tail end of the conversation of Gretchen saying, "Well, I thank you for everything you've done here, and I wish you safe travels. I appreciate that. Hopefully, I can help others who are sick as well. May the stone watch your way. I appreciate that now." And as that, the muttering stops.
Okay. That's fucking weird. When did I hear his voice? Why did I hear their voices? Fuck.
Why not?
Does it feel like there's anything magical coming off of the mask itself?
No.
Okay. So Thorgrim's gonna take the mask off briefly, and he's going to sort of hold it in his hand as he joins the rest of the group.
Okay. You exit your room at the same time Jubilee does.
Oh, good morning.
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 Oh, man, I have such an interesting new item now. I'm
Yeah,
still holding the doll.
And Thorgrim's holding the like doctor mask. Yeah, I think we both got something kind of. Why do you have a doll?
You guys are gonna have to see this tomorrow morning. This thing is amazing.
Oh, glad you got something cool. I got a mask that apparently allows me to hear Kane's voice.
Really?
Yeah, when I put it on, I heard a conversation between Kane and Gretchen, the dwarf woman, leader person, and she was like, thank you for your service, safe travels. I hope your journeys find you well. Blah blah blah.
So you couldn't communicate to Kane or something
You
while
know what?
wearing it?
You know what? Let me try that. He's gonna put the mask on. He's gonna go, Dr. Kane, can you hear me?
You get no reply.
Takes the mask off. Nope. No dice.
Oh well, it was worth a shot.
Yeah. Something. Anyway, what does your new doll friend do?
Well, I don't know. I just feel very inspired today to really give it my all.
You're the one who feels inspired? That's a new one.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, really new.
Tauntaun, at this point, you wake up.
Yeah, you guys just have to really see this thing.
Loudly.
I'll just stop us right here at the stairs because I'll say we were talking and walking.
And then Tauntaun's just gonna lay there.
Okay. Tauntaun stays in bed. Quick
He doesn't
conversation.
even sleep in the bed. He's sleeping under the desk. Man,
All right.
weird.
So real quick, you guys get to have a short conversation before we call it for the night.
I forgot.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
Oh,
Well,
we can call it here if you want.
Yeah.
Hey! calling it. Here, can I get a 1, 2,
I am not giving you more character sheets until later.
12, 13 extra sheets whenever you get the chance?
Maybe. I may have to restrict you because it may be too many.
It's just for familiar.
We're running into the opposites problem all over again.
It's just for familiars. I can only have one at a time.
It's funny to see it. It's funny to see it on the opposite end, isn't it?
I know, right? I told you that he was this campaign's version of Obasis. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, subscribe, and maybe watch some more. Be seeing ya.